Man. Also, side
Yeah,
note,
yeah.
I love Kodak, man. I loved old Kodak. Obviously, guy's a piece of shit. I don't really listen to him anymore.
That's the problem, is that I wasn't for his music back when it was good, and now that I could go back and revisit it, I have no desire to, because the man's fucking piece of shit.
Well, no one should. No one should.
I remember in 2016, I was obsessed with the song with Fresh Montana that summer. Lockjaw.
Oh,
amazing!
That song is that might be a perfect song. I love that.
That is one of the perfect songs.
I remember
one of my favorite short reviews I wrote. I think I have it at 3.5. It should be like at 4.5, but I'm not about to go back and change any fucking Kodak Black ratings. But still, it should be at 4.5. I think my review of that is something like the dictionary definition of inexplicable charisma.
You did say that. I remember that review. I remember that.
You know what the most insane part of that song is? Like, he says there's a specific line on that song where Kodak's like he specifically mentions that he's not going to drug someone's drink. Like, specifically mentions it on that song.
Oh yeah.
Which to me makes it all the more bizarre that we're here where we are. But you know,
I just heard a lyric like that.
No, because she's like looking at me. She's looking at her drink, trying to see if like I it or something like that.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. Like, I mean, this is the same guy that dropped his phone in the shower while on Instagram Live and everyone saw his dick. So, like, he's not a very smart man, but he was good at one time.
Living off borrowed time, the clock ticks faster. Living off borrowed time, the clock ticks faster. Living off borrowed time, the clock.
Don't know how we say from Kodak to Drain Gang, but I'm sure we'll get there.
What's the link?
This is the Drain Gang episode.
I mean, it's all a circle though, because of the we're talking about what we got into and all this stuff, and I feel like of all of us, Chris, you were probably. I would be stunned if you weren't the earliest on all of this stuff, even though
almost guaranteed.
Ironically, around that same time, like 2015, like I was listening to like Young Lean, but I'm not gonna sit here and say I liked Lean as much as I did. Fast forward 4 years later in like 2018, that was a slow build for me where I was listening to Unknown Death and being like, like it doesn't. It's not as bad as like the critics say it is, but it's not really for me type shit.
I can't imagine a world where I listened to Unknown Death for the first time and was like, but like I suppose.
Yeah. I have to hold that.
I mean, I've been listening to Young Lean and Blade for 11 years, so that's basically what the whole time nearly. Yeah, let's
a real one.
But one thing I will say before we go into any specific discussion is, before Cold Visions came out, I was kind of over it a little bit. But, and funny story, right? The day that Cold Visions came out was just a random Tuesday in the middle of, I don't know, what was it, like?
April.
Yeah, April. I was like, earlier that day, I was like, I'm going to listen back to those Drain Gang Living Up Borrowed Time episodes and see, just while I'm at work. And I was like, oh man, these episodes are really good. I had a great time. And then literally that same night, it dropped, and I was like, "Holy shit!" Now
the feeling is restored.
Again. Yes, it was almost like they sent me a sign. Yes, 30 songs. I was like, "What the fuck?" But yeah, before that I was kind of like less interested in it, but now I'm all back. I'm back on board. I'm back on board, baby.
Such a good.
So,
You couldn't have started this any more perfectly, because I have a similar anecdote. Before we get into that, welcome everyone, Living Off Borrowed Time podcast. We're coming at you with a ton of episodes now. You know, we either never record or we're very prolific.
you're
This is
so
great.
prolific. It's crazy.
I know. We're firing
I haven't
off
heard
episodes.
the last two yet, but
Well, it's okay, because we won't record again for 6 months. So you have plenty of time to get all of this, this content in. So, but yes, very excited to be back here. For some of you longtime listeners, OG listeners, we've got Chris, aka well, I said aka 108 Mics, formerly of 108 Mics,
yes,
and
allegedly,
Destroy Me.
someone does still write for that, allegedly, but you know,
Allegedly.
it's all well, you know, no hate to Steve,
No,
who is
no.
a writer, but he doesn't write, so I can't really call him that. Like, there hasn't been a post on it since last year. I think safe to say that project is officially, not officially, but more or less in the
Shelved, at least.
Yes, shelved for sure. But I had but yeah, destroyxme on Rate Your Music.
Yes. No,
yes.
I botched that one. I
No,
took
it's
over
fine.
for watching the
I needlessly went into detail on it, but yes, I am not affiliated with 108mics.com. So
not anymore. But some of you from back in the day might have known that. But yes, he's and if Chris is in the guest chair with us, then that only means one thing: we are revisiting our Drain Gang series. This is part 3. When you last heard about 3 years ago, we did a part 2 that ended at The Fool, which was the most recent album. Now we are going to basically traverse the last couple years, which is a little more infrequent in terms of drops, but in honor of Blade's Cold Visions just dropping and really restoring the feeling. We have so much to get to with that, as well as other things. But before we even get into that, I have to also introduce our other guest, longtime guest, Ben, aka Embraced, new username.
Yes, hello.
Yes, and of course, Patrick, my illustrious co-host, who I've left till the end. Sorry, Pat.
No apology necessary. When I'm always grateful to not have to shoulder the intro. So
yeah.
That's a small price. So fourth intro is a small price to pay for not having to handle that, especially after the episode. I also don't know how this is going to end up coming out, because for reasons we can discuss off air later, this might come out before our special episode. It might come out after, because there might be an addendum to that one. So
yes.
Anyway, we'll
regardless, tons of episodes in the pipeline, and we are happy to be back in the fold with so much exciting music to talk about, which has really been the theme for the last couple, and is the theme for this one. Chris, your anecdote I found very poignant, only because of the fact that I had been. We're going to start with just a high-level discussion, and then I think we're going to go back, and then I think we'll end with Cold Visions. You know, we usually do chronologically. But I will just say, before I reached out to everybody here about the episode upon the drop of Cold Visions, what makes this record so special to me on a personal level, and just what has happened this year for DG on a personal level, is how much I had wanted it for so long, and how much I had kind of put it out of the realm of possibility that it was ever happening, and being perfectly fine with that, just in the sense that, you know, in the last couple of years, which we will talk about, the guys in Drain Gang have kind of gone in multiple different directions and tried a lot of new sounds, and I think successfully so. But there was a point of being like, in my head of, you know, I always wanted him to make Working on Dying 2. Or, you know, and I've spoken in previous, you know, episode way back in the day about how that was my favorite tape. It was one of my favorite mixtapes ever. And just it coming out and out of nowhere, and then having the production list that it had, and just have, you know, the 30 songs, and the reunion of the group, and all the lead features and everything. So, yeah, there's a lot to get to with that, but I do echo your your point, Chris, wholeheartedly that it's kind of a full circle moment, and we'll get into that. There's a lot of lyrics on the the project in general about how it's full circle.
About Cold Visions, but we should give correct attention. We should definitely give correct attention to all the other ones.
Of course, I think leaving it in the cleanup spot as we end with it. I think there's going to be so much discussion. I'm sure all of us have a lot to say, but I guess my thing to get it, because Ben, you weren't on either of the first 2 episodes.
Correct. Yes.
So I know, because we've talked about, we've been on a pod before a couple years ago. We briefly talked about Spiderr and other things.
Yeah. That's right.
Where are you at? Let's say Cold Visions never came out for a second. Let's just put that out of the way. Right. Before it dropped, like where these last couple years, where have you been at with Bladee and DG?
So I think one of the things that I found when like they've dropped is it's a big moment and I get really excited and I'm like, oh my gosh, like this is my favorite artist. So I'm really hyped and I listen to it and I have a great time and I love everything I'm hearing. And then like 2 or 3 weeks later, I'll kind of shelve it. And then I may never pick up the album for like 3 or 4 months after that. Like this happened with Spiderr. I know when I talked about it on the podcast, I was like, this is like the greatest album of all time. It's like an easy 5-star. Like it's perfect. I loved it. And then like 2 weeks later, I never like returned to it as much as I like should have for something that I claimed was like a 5-star album. And like it's insane because like coming back and like listening to all those songs again, like the past couple of weeks, I'm like, these songs are still so fucking good. But like, I don't know, there's just something about like the songs that have come out these past couple of years that have like, it stopped me from giving that extra replay that I give to like a lot of my favorite tracks. But like now when you talk about Cold Visions, now here's this is an album that like, right. I could not stop replaying. And it's been, it's been about a month. I think it's been almost exactly a month.
Yeah, no, I think it's pretty much exactly so.
Yeah, and it's been constant replay. And that's something that like didn't really happen with something like Spiderr or something like Psykos or something like Crest even. Crest I gave a lot of attention to at the start of the spring in 2022, but like, I don't know, I feel like to me, Cold Visions, this is different. In my opinion, like the kind of music.
I think thematically it is drastic. Maybe not thematically, but from a sonic perspective, it is noticeably different than what came previous. So kind of what I've been looking at, because I feel like we're gonna get into our first project here. So what we left off with was The Fool, which had the Rip Squad production. I remember Chris sort of affectionately calling it a Christian rap album in the last episode, which
I've been vindicated on that, by the way.
Yeah, no, yeah,
it is Christian for sure. He is Christian. He's literally who knows what denomination, but he is.
I thought he was Jewish, but like I guess I don't know. Maybe he's Reformed.
Well, okay, he's Abrahamic.
Okay, I don't.
Yeah.
I mean, there are Jews.
The whole thing flies over my head, to be honest, but I don't know.
Well, I think that's good, though, because honestly, I'd rather have something like that has Christian themes that are ambiguous than something like an album I've defended that has not aged well, something like Jesus is King, or, Chance the Rapper shit, or even No Malice stuff. Like, I'm just bringing up mainstream artists without even getting into, like, Christian rap.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So I feel like having something where the themes are overt but ambiguous, overt enough that they can come to the forefront, but ambiguous enough that we can still debate them. I think that's actually to the album's credit. Not that I've come back to that album too much. I like it, but I don't like it. Didn't really draw me back too hard compared to other work. But I do, and I'm overall more in favor of that sort of spirituality in music versus something that's more like bludgeoning with it, I suppose.
100%. I think my favorite types of like spiritual, music, spiritual hip hop is either that or like, and you guys might appreciate this, Ben and Chris, but like Dev Stack's Praise God, something like that, which is like absolutely gorgeous beat, like that regalia, It's the ILB. One of my favorite beats of the last
It's like
year.
ethereal, heavenly type stuff.
Oh my gosh! And
Stuff that makes you feel like you're floating on like clouds of heaven. That's
it's
a good
simultaneously
spirit
like it's simultaneously like triumphant and melancholic at the same time. It's just it conjures up a lot of emotion that I think is really unique in a lot of newer hip hop. So yeah, great song. But I think what we didn't talk about on the second episode, I think it came out just before the Fool. But, and I guess I'm going to pronounce this correctly, but the Echo EP, is it so PXE? How do you pronounce it?
Oh, I thought it was Pixie.
Pixie.
It is.
Yeah.
It's Pixie Music is how he says it.
He calls it Pixie
Pixie.
Music, so I assume Pixie was
That's the total whiff on my part. Easy
be the
one
only
right
one.
there.
That's the
Yeah,
only
missed
one.
the layup. That's fine. That's okay. So Pixie, which even though we came out just before the Fool, we didn't talk about this much. Rare that we get any Echo body of work these days. So this, I know it's a couple years ago, but did you guys revisit this? Like how do you guys feel about this one?
I did revisit it. I mean, when you say it's a body of work, it's like half a body.
It's like 10 minutes.
A torso. Yeah, it's like ideas for sure. I mean, In the Flesh is 10 out of 10, right?
That's definitely that's the catchiest like pure song. That's like the song of the album for sure.
Exactly, yeah. And then there's stuff like Big Air and I guess Jalous. I don't know how you say that.
I guess like jealous.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know.
Those two, especially Big Air, are like they really lean into him going way more experimental. And obviously, I enthused about E so much, right?
Yeah.
And how much I fucking love that album, and still do, still on rotation. This just isn't, because it's like it feels like it could be a stopgap. If it is a stopgap, it's a large gap. Who knows? Because we're still waiting on a second project from him, or maybe he's just not the kind of artist that has like another full project in him anytime soon. Who knows? But this is cool in my opinion. It's just like a 7 out of 10 cool projects, but nothing amazing in my opinion.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know what everyone else thinks.
Yeah, I'm in agreement. I think that Echo in the past has described himself less of like a musician and more of like just like an artist in general, and like music is almost like a side project in a way. So like he's not putting in sort of like all that much effort into dropping like music unless he like really wants to. So I don't know, that's just like something to think about in terms of like him not wanting like a stopgap, I guess. Like this might just be what he's just got, and I don't know, he doesn't feel comfortable dropping anything else right now because it's just like a side thing.
Yeah, he just shows up on like features a lot and doing background vocals and stuff. But yeah, this is kind of the last proper thing until very recently. Probably the most focused.
I mean, when I compared E, and I said this at the time, I said no other album should be compared to Blonde like ever except this one. This is the only one that I'll allow
see it.
because I do see it. And at the time I said, a couple years ago we talked about this. I was like, I wouldn't be shocked if he never put out like a proper album again. And he was just like, I did it. Like my whole music life was like building up to this, and like I did it. And I could not fault Echo for that.
No,
I wouldn't fault him. So I like this project. I think revisiting it, I appreciate it a lot. I won't say a lot more, but I definitely appreciate it more than I did at the time when I was just like, it's only a few songs. Like it's da-da-da. I found it really interesting and kind of like surprising, like just listening to like, oh yeah, this was really good. Like it was never something I revisited, but I'm like, oh man, like
it's texture.
This is why Echo's such a great artist.
Fascinating.
Like,
yeah, no, texturally, I agree. That's a good way to say it. It's just like a lot of like, especially like Big Air, like listening to that, I was like, I didn't even remember anything about that song, to be honest. But like revisiting it with like those crazy vocals that he puts on, and then those like, I don't know, it's just like, it's insanely hard, but like it's got these like just nice beeps strewn in the background. I love it. That was a really nice track that I just didn't even remember existed, to be honest. So I'm glad I revisited it.
Yeah, you guys keep visited. This was my first listen, so I was visiting it for the first time. And I appreciate Caleb making the comparison to Blonde for E, because I think this is a little bit like Endless, a bit, in that these aren't necessarily fully formed thoughts, but together makes a fully formed thought. I think this is fascinating. I think I'm higher on this than anybody else here. I think that standalone, except for maybe Big Air, these don't stand out, but make it one 10-minute piece and it stands out. I think it's texturally fascinating, compositionally fascinating if you just take it as one 10-minute long piece. Yeah, I think that the Endless comparison stands up in the same way E to Blonde stands out. I really enjoy this. I would revisit it again. And yeah, I think it, from where he is in the Drain Gang sort of, what's the word I'm looking for here? Lineup isn't the correct word, but he's definitely not the songwriter, like in terms of output, that Blade is. Yeah. So for just how he's going to roll his output out, something like this makes sense.
Have you heard the Crush Resist EP?
If I have memory,
it's like super noisy, even more experimental than this. Like the vocals are drowned out. You'd probably enjoy that a lot.
Yeah, it's like deconstructed club type stuff, right?
Yeah, a bit of, I don't know, like some of it is just noise kind of, but yeah, it is definitely deconstructed club.
It's on if you go to the RYM page, Pat, it's on Bandcamp.
Cool. There we go then.
It's on three. It's only 3 tracks. So.
Oh, speaking of RYM, first of all, I'm going to need everybody to verify they're not robots before we can.
Stop.
Why all of a sudden though? Like, what's the? I don't get it. Like, why is it doing that?
There's nebulous reasons. I popped in on the thread to complain about it. It was when I first posted in like a year. I just yelled, "I'm not a robot." Really constructive use of my time. But then one of the mods basically asked everybody to see their own fault in it and how the moderators are being afflicted by this problem by having to deal with our complaints. So
this was actually RYM's response to Meet the Grams being number 1 all time.
Where is it at now? Meet the Grams. Is it still number 1?
It's a good question. Let's check.
It can't be, can it?
It was like
I sure hope
462 when I last looked. I was like,
the thing is,
yeah, the Rock Dads will get to it, and then a Pink Floyd single is going to overcome it in the next month. It's like brain damage or some shit.
It's currently 5 overall on singles. It's 5.
Jeez.
It's only
5
below
overall.
Wouldn't It Be Nice and When You Sleep and
Yeah,
all the
right.
usuals. I'm going to be real with you. I think I might like Meet the Grams more than When You Sleep. Maybe.
Well, you're speaking Pat's language right now.
I don't know. That's too much for me.
I'm not a big Billy Valentine fan though, so that's just me. But
you and Pat
let's not go down that road anyway.
Oh, okay. All right.
Some touchy subjects. All right.
No. Pat's with you. I'm just saying. You
I'm
guys
just gonna.
against me.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm sure we can come together on that. Like.
All right. RYM thinks Meet the Grams is better than Shook One's Part 2. Surely that.
Okay, that's bullshit. Yeah, that's bullshit. But like. Here's the thing, though. Every time I think of a reason that Meet the Grahams shouldn't be that high, another line from it pops up in my head. So, like, it is one of the most memorable songs I've heard in years.
It is very memorable.
It's not just... Yeah.
It's effective. It's an effective campaign ad. Like, fucking the Biden campaign should hire Kendrick. Because, like, that...
Yeah, absolutely. Because every time I'm just chilling, I hear that you lied about the... Like, that just plays in my head all the time.
That's the best part of the song. The ending, like 30 seconds.
Right. If you listen to our episode, like that's what we talk about is like that's the heart of the matter, and the rest.
I should do.
He own goals himself a lot about other stuff, but that part of the song ultimately gets to it, and then that's the part he revisits when he goes after his authenticity in Not Like Us. But I think Not Like Us is centered around that, and that's why Not Like Us is a much better song. Aside from the fact that Not Like Us is actually a catchy, good song, and not just 6-minute long performance piece / campaign.
Right.
Meet the Grams played in the Atlanta clubs. You guys don't understand.
That would be.
Caleb, our resident sports journalist, can answer this. Isn't some fucking baseball player using it as walk-up music?
That's crazy.
Okay, so there's a player on my favorite baseball team that has Not Like Us as his walk-up music. However,
I thought you said Meet the Grams.
I thought it was Meet the Grams.
I was like, that can't
There's
be.
no way
I will
someone's using an
say
Alchemist beat to walk out. That's crazy.
I will say there have been stadiums around the country, whether it's baseball or basketball, that in like warm-ups, like, you know, before the game starts, players are warming up, the crowd's milling in. Meet the Grams has been playing. Like, someone's taken a video and put it on Twitter where it's like, why is Meet the Grams playing during warm-ups? Like, who wants to warm up to this?
Somebody should have the fucking baseball organist at the like Meet the Grams on the organ.
Oh, that'd be so hard. They should perform all 3 songs, I think.
We need, Christian. We need a soccer, footy chant in the Meet the Grams style, like, you know, those stadium-wide chants.
You could OV-ho meet the chant. You could do an OV-ho chant. Say OV-ho.
You can definitely do an OV-ho.
I mean, if it was like football, lads, they'd like the whole like nonce stuff would tie in very well, I think, because British people love calling each other nonces. I feel like that would be a perfect fit, really.
But it's somebody telling something in an accent, so Drake would probably take it as a compliment.
Oh, he'd be like, "Oh, yes, yes."
Exactly. Yes,
My brothers have accepted me again. The boy better no tattoo wasn't for nothing. But yeah.
Time to do another crime.
British Drake.
Why didn't he say, like, one of the lyrics should have been, I don't know how you would have phrased it, but you've got a BBK tattoo and Skepta doesn't even like you. Like, that's a fantastic, that's a missed opportunity from Kendrick.
Too niche for the audience Kendrick was going for, unfortunately. But I mean, that would have cut, but still.
But yeah, the best Blade song, Meet the Grams. Anyway,
by far, yeah. I mean,
wait, have you guys?
Has Drake stolen from Drain Gang? He's stolen from everybody else. I'm sure. Weirdly, kind of, right? Not really.
Come through.
A lot of people have cribbed the fashion. I will say.
You know, with some Diamonds Dancing.
Yes.
Oh yes.
Allegedly, Good was in the studio for that.
And James Ferraro.
And James Ferraro, that's right, yeah. So
which is absolutely bonkers.
What was it?
Yeah. But we haven't had Blade on like we will get back to the albums, but I just thought of the funniest fucking thing. So you know that new Danny Brown album? There was that song Shakedown. And it has is it Zalupas doing the hook? I forget on that song. But regardless, someone asked Danny Brown, is it Blade doing the hook? Like without a trace of irony.
Yeah.
Like no, it's not Blade. No, doing the hook on that song.
But Danny Brown would definitely be tapped in listening to Blade, though.
Maybe. I mean, he likes Jane Remove It, so yeah, maybe.
Yeah, because on his podcast a couple years ago, now I wouldn't say he was like super early, but a couple years ago he was like, "I'm rocking with Yeet, like I'm listening to these Yeet albums." But I mean, so he probably, there's only 1 degree of separation in the sense of DG. I feel like he's definitely heard some songs.
For sure.
I don't know if it's in the Danny Brown rotation, but
I would not be surprised. I feel like Loopers is probably more likely to be listening to Drain Gang than Danny, honestly. But I mean,
that's true.
Because he's on the cloudy stuff more too, so it
Bruiser Wolf tapping in with Echo.
Man, Bruiser Wolf is that guy's crazy, man. Like I love hearing him rap.
I don't know if you've heard, but Bruiser Wolf's a dope boy.
Oh, I have heard. I've heard it mentioned once or twice.
Yes. Only a few times. Wait, have you guys heard the bonus track on Pixie Music? Or Pixie?
Well, no, I haven't. I feel like I should.
The untitled one or whatever?
I think so. No. Pretty sure I only listened to whatever's on the Spotify version, unfortunately.
Yeah, it was like a CD release only, right?
Oh, I'm just looking at this. Yeah,
I got it from shout out to John from RYM User Look at Ghost. I got it from him, I think, a while back, but it's really good.
So it's only on the physical.
Yeah, it's just one song. It's untitled.
Damn.
I'll have to check that out too, because I was definitely pretty high on that. I mean, I have a type review up now, but I might go deeper in the future on that because I really, really did enjoy this, and I thought it's unique in obviously the whole Drain Gang catalog. The closest I can think of, again, you pointed out the Crush, Resist Crush. Yeah, which sounds familiar enough that I think. What's a shame about the previous Drain episodes is that I inhaled so much so quickly over a very let's say, fraught time in my life. Fraught's not the right word, but it was my child was about to be born. So
Yes.
wow.
Yes.
yeah, so I was listening to all of this as any day my wife could have just popped out my kid. And so I had a lot on my mind. So I was listening to all of this and I'm like, I'd like to revisit this. And then I just remember like so little of it. So little. I mean, Working on Dying, I loved. But beyond that and Ice Dancer, those were the two that really stuck with me. But there was so much that I just never really came back to. And
Right.
Totally
So-
fair.
Yeah, you were at an important period in your life. So, I mean, shout out to your child who was drained in the womb.
My drained daughter, yes, but
Right.
unfortunately, and we've covered this at length on the podcast, the album that I associate the most with it, because the album I had in the car that I was listening to she was in the NICU on the way to and from the NICU all the time, was fucking Donda.
Wow.
Yes.
Which, by the way,
She was hearing donda, donda, donda repeated over and
God, that's
over,
beautiful.
rattling in her skull.
There's worse album. I mean, look.
No,
I
I like that.
album.
I love that album, but
Aside from context, I will defend that album. But I would
Yeah.
have much rather it been like, I don't know, Cold Visions, something like along that line. But
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, and not just to do the transition, I promise, but I actually think Crest would have been a really good album for
yeah.
a
sure.
young child to
That's
listen
what-
to.
Man.
Well, it's a summer album too. It's got a spring summer palette to it.
Oh,
this
yeah.
is pure spring for me. This is the springiest album I've ever heard, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Cover art on point. Yeah, the cover art is really appropriate for this.
Yes. Yeah. This album is from great. Yeah. Like, I mean, this is people wanted an Echo and Blade album, and they got a really good synth pop album with many great hooks.
The hooks.
It was
Just hooks, isn't it? It's just amazing hook back to back.
It was really cool to revisit this because I had kind of forgot how good it was. Just in the sense of, for whatever reason, I never listened to it. I think the first few months after it came out, I kind of did what Ben was talking about, where he would listen to it a lot in the interim. But usually most of the Drain catalog, because I've been listening to their stuff since 2018 and 2019 a little bit as well. I kind of have phases with a lot of the albums over the years, but this was one where from the time it came out to the mid-year, I was listening to it a lot. I thought it was beautiful music, etc., etc. And I thought the sound change was their gradual last year or two, really, since 333 had been building up to this moment. And I was really happy with how it turned out. And then I just didn't listen to it, after 2022. I didn't.
Yeah.
And I kind of revisited, and I was like, what's a great song is 5-Star Crest.
5-Star Crest is like George dropping shit, man.
It's career
It's like
defining.
a sweet.
Yeah,
almost.
it's like, what the hell am I even listening to? Like, seriously. And of course, it's a dedication to their late friend, which makes it all the better. So,
Yes.
R.I.P.
Yeah.
Vent Room. Yeah.
if you Room, yeah. But yeah, that
Which
song.
didn't. I'm sorry to interrupt you, Chris.
No, it's
but
all good.
That is funny because didn't Blade has had lines throughout his solo albums with R.I.P. and then insert other person as well. Like I remember on Gatekeeper, most notably.
R.I.P. Baron.
Oh, it's Byron, yeah. Yeah.
But to do a whole song, it was very moving.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
he didn't do a lot of stuff with them aside from Plastic Boy, which is a Young Lean song, and those recent songs that leaked as well.
Yeah, I still haven't heard those. Oh my.
Those are good. Those
Yeah, I
are
really
good.
need to get on that.
They're kind of unfinished.
I've heard Birdies. I think that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But yeah, he was talented, and it's nice that they made that into a 9-minute epic. I mean, I guess it's actually 3 or 4 songs in one song.
It's
Really?
5, right? That's why it's 5.
Five. Oh yeah, yeah, of course, yeah, 5-Star Crest. But yeah, it's beautiful.
I
this
would like to
album,
also say before you guys go, or Pat and Ben, that Sophia's review, this is really good. Shout out to Sophia. Um, I like the imagery that she conjures up about the angels taking you through like a snow covered mountain, and there's like they take you into some cabin and you drink hot cocoa, and you look around at like the world, and then the angels start singing, and there's like a cold, crisp, like pretty landscape, and you know the sun's shining down on you. Very evocative. So good
That's why I
writing.
feel white metal.
Always like to point out good writing on RYM because there's so
Yeah.
much not.
oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. No,
So yeah.
I'll just say one more thing quickly, which was, I do really like this album. It's extremely pretty. It's like it's like a pristinely produced album. You know, there's not really a bad song here. But what I actually have found over the years is, and this album was kind of what started my feeling about Blade, where I was like, is his music really for me anymore? Like, as in, I really love it. It's great. But is it something I'm going to come back to and want more of this style?
Mhm.
That kind of wasn't what I wanted. If he'd continued to just do this forever, I think I would have been a bit disappointed. But this album, as it is, while it's not one of my favorite Blade albums, I mean, like with songs like "The Flag Is Raised" and "Yeses" and obviously "Girls Just Want to Have Fun" was the single, but that one's still great too. But yeah,
Oh yeah.
it's a great album. Just not one of my favorites, but I think that's mostly just because of what we're getting, what we just got. Like, again, it's all a comparison point.
I
It all
totally
depends
agree.
on-
Yeah.
It all depends on what you like, and I couldn't agree more with everything you said. Like this wouldn't even sniff my top 5 Blade. But it's
Flag Is
also
Raised is
it's
the
also
best
like
intro song he's ever done.
undeniably
Yeah,
it's undeniably really good.
Yeah.
Like, it's fucking great, but
Yeah,
also
yeah,
this wouldn't even come close to like my top 5.
it's
See,
almost
this,
too good.
this
Oh,
would be my top 5 because maybe at the bottom of my
Oh.
top 5, just because of the reasons you guys listed. Actually, it's him pushing this far in this direction. Would I want it for every Blade release from now on? No, but I think the fact that he does it this well once, and then
Yes.
you hear these melodic like ideas and figures and textures used again in Cold Visions. I feel
You
like
do.
in the hooks,
You
do.
in the structuring, but he pares it down and refines it and puts it in the context of like the working on Dying Blade, the rapping Blade. And so, but you getting it here just purely this sort of synth pop, hooks on hooks on hooks, just beautifully melodic. And yeah, Sophia's review is incredible. And I think it gets a lot right about the emotional palette of the album, that is both cold and warm. Like it's warm weather music, but from a cold place. Like its best song is like nonstop melodic hooks, but it's also a eulogy and an elegy.
Yes. Well said. Well said. Absolutely. Yeah, like, yeah, it's great. When this came out, I'd never heard Blade like really sound like this, and it was awesome. Like, it definitely felt like he took some of the more melodic stuff on The Fool and kind of expanded on it over some of White Armor's most accessible production, but definitely some of his most interesting.
I think this is his most like, this is his best production in terms of like, you know, like it may not be my favorite production, but
Like,
I think this is like his objectively, this is like his best production in my opinion.
Yes,
I just
totally
think,
agree.
like especially on like tracks like Heaven Sings, it's just like these like ethereal synths with these like, I don't know, it's like sound effects lacing all through it, beautiful melodic percussion just gracing through the ears. I think that this is his best work in my opinion.
Yes, absolutely. It's always great to hear White Armor pushing his sound, and he actually has been working with more different people recently as well, which is really cool to see.
Mm-hmm.
He was on that he did a co-production on that Slam Cito Evil Gianni tape, I think, right?
Yes, he did.
Yes,
he's been working with like Lucy too,
which was a welcome sign.
So,
Part of
quick
it.
side note, that Slime Cito song, Designer Drugs, is fucking incredible. I love that
Amazing. One of my favorites of the year. The melody.
That beat is so cute, man.
Oh my god. The
That beat is so cute.
I love that.
So
that
catchy,
melody.
man. But yeah.
Yeah. it's funny, on my literally a minute ago, I was just talking about how, oh man, that's like this wouldn't even sniff my top 5, and that's still true to be fair. But I was looking back just now at like the 2022 like my favorites from that year, and I'm like, yeah, this would probably still like be right around like number 10 for that year or something. Like this is still like.
I mean, that's true, but like for me, like the bar is high, right? So,
Yeah.
Oh, it's so high.
No, I'm right there with
astronomically
you.
high.
Higher. It's just
Yeah.
it's funny that for this, in my opinion, being like not an upper echelon Blade record, but still being better than like 99% of shit that comes out in a given year.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm top 10 for 2022, and all I'll say is that we have the number one for 2022. We're not going to go there. And Denzel Curry's "Melt My Eyes, See Your Future" is number 9.
Interesting.
Without comment.
You mean Tyranna Butterfly?
I was not going to rehash my best joke on the show, but you're welcome to.
Hey,
we don't
I'll
need
give you all the credit
Off,
for that.
but that's one ahead of it. Interestingly enough, yeah. Getting run up by Kendrick yet again. So what's Denzel's Mr. Morale is like Mr. Morale in the moderate trotters? I don't know.
Yeah, we gotta think of something for that one.
Can we quickly? I don't know if you had this on the list.
King's Disease 3 is 14. That was the 14th best record anyone heard all year. Was King's Disease? Never mind. I gotta get off.
Again, we've been over.
Pretty good.
We've
It
been
was not the
over.
14th best record of the year.
Is that the one that has the Eminem feature, or is that 2?
No, I believe 3 has the Eminem feature that I complained about at length.
Oh my God.
Okay, then 2 is better than 3. In my
No. 2. I'm sorry, 2 had it. This is the one with This has what WTF SMH, which is objectively hilarious.
Oh yeah. No, King's Disease 3 is Nas, yeah. He's kind of good again now. Kind of.
Shout out to Nas using modern day slang like WTF SMH in 2022 as a. Does everyone call him Nas in America?
What is
Yes.
it opposed to?
Nas.
I used to call him Naz before I knew
Because
shit.
I'm like that. Like, it's the British accent. Like that's how. Like I say Tupac for the same reason.
Yeah, it's like a Midwestern thing. It's like 2-pack, Naz. Everything is.
I want to say Naz. It sounds better.
To me, Naz is better, but I know better than to say that.
That sounds like
nasty Naz.
Yeah,
Nasty
no,
Naz.
exactly.
Yeah.
Sounds like
Lil Nas X.
That sounds like Dan Aykroyd and the Blues Brothers saying like Nas.
Yeah, exactly.
Look, saying anything in a British accent, well, specifically an English accent, is gonna ensue hilarity at some point, especially when
true.
it's.
Wait, so now
American
I'm
art.
thinking about what are how the Brits pronounce different rapper names. What's the funniest one?
I mean, you get me to say some, I'll give it a go. I don't know.
It just happens.
Yeah,
I don't know what's a funny one.
Anything with R's. I'm studying linguistics right now, so
I mean, there's levels to this one, but 21 Savage.
21 Savage. 21, I guess. 21 Savage.
Well, you pronounce the 21 very
You pronounce a lot more syllables in it than he does. I'll say that.
Yeah. It rolls off the American tongue a little quicker.
21.
I mean, I was
Sometimes-
definitely going for a meta joke there, but also he was kind of fresh in my mind. Because
Because he's British, of course. Yes. Secretly British.
yeah, you guys were trying to do a reverse Revolutionary War invasion.
We sent him over there to make. We sent him over there to make Red Ops and No Heart, and he succeeded. He's in there now.
This was actually
Thank you. The greatest British import. Thank you.
The greatest British rapper of all time. Everyone always says that, and I know it's a joke, but I think some people are being serious when they say
I
it.
think
It really
speaking
pisses
of
me
dumb
off.
RYM controversies, I think there was a whole thing where somebody started adding UK rap to all of his releases.
Yes, of course, Patrick. Of course they did, because these people have time on their hands. They have no fucking life.
They see the headline
I'm
and
saying
they type in straight to the search bar.
I couldn't
Yeah,
possibly have Savage.
I'm allowed to
being
say
highest
I'm
rated
allowed to
UK
say
rapper.
they have no life
Oh, no.
because I've been an RYM for 10 years now, so I'm allowed to say that.
Wow.
I have over 7,000 reviews on RYM. I'm definitely allowed to criticize these people. But
Having
God.
Savage
Oh
Mode
God!
2 is
Just
the
hearing that come
number
out of my mouth
one.
on something that was recorded for posterity just made me want to just like walk out of the room and just stop everything. But
Oh my gosh.
no. Anyway, who's sadder in the situation? The person who adds the genre, or the moderator who gets incredibly mad about it and then de-weights them? Who is the mark in this situation?
It's the moderator. Come on, let's be real.
Yeah,
It's always the
that's real.
moderator because they're just like the cops, aren't they? They're just like narcs. Do you know what I mean?
Yes. The
Narcs.
the
You said
source
narcs?
the source is not correct.
Narcs, yeah, narcs.
It sounded like the way you
No.
said. I think that's
Narc, is that funny? Is that funny too? I don't know. Yeah,
No, you're right. They are narcs. I just
they
thought
are
it was
totally
funny
narcs,
the way-
man.
the-
Oh yeah,
the
no,
way
no.
you said it, yeah.
If anyone thinks of anything else funny they want me to say, oh, to be fair, no, in fact, yeah, no.
They're narcs looking out for robots. They're like Deckard or something. I don't know.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Or robots looking out for robots. Whoa, maybe. Who
The
knows?
mods are replicants.
I'm the true
Oh.
winner. 7,000 reviews making fucking Blade Runner moderator jokes on a podcast 100 listen to.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. We all have lives. We laughed at a Blade Runner review on a Blade podcast.
Oh god, yeah.
Oh my god, there you go. There's your fucking title for the log
Do you-
entry.
Yeah, yes, yeah.
That reminds me. Do you guys remember when Blade did that interview with Nardwar and he says, "Small wooden horse"?
Yes.
Oh
And then-
yes,
that's a
yes, I
classic.
remember this.
And then one of the key themes in Blade Runner 2049 is a small wooden horse, and Blade was like, "What the fuck, man?"
I'm just,
Weird about it. He was
just
like,
saying.
"It's
Ridley
crazy,
Scott tapped, or who was it? Denis Villeneuve tapped in. With,
Then he wait.
Yeah,
is that how you say that? Say his surname again.
I think is it Denis Villeneuve? That's how I thought you pronounce it.
Then I would say
Dan-
I've been
Dan-
saying
Danny
Villain.
Fight last week, and that was pronounced Villanueva, and the way it was pronounced by Jordan, I was not sure if it was correct or not because I've never heard anyone say it in real fucking life.
That's
So-
the problem. I would have said Villanueve. Am I dumb?
Same. That's
But
what I was
he's that sounds like it's more like Spanish, and he's French.
Is he French?
Yeah,
Canadian?
I'll
Or is he
just put it
just
this way.
French?
He's
If
French
it's
Canadian.
Actually,
Right.
if it's actually Villanueva, then I give up. That makes no fucking sense.
Well, I was going to say we need to ask Diction then. Follow-up question: why did you make Diction listen to this album?
Shout out.
No,
Shout out.
What? Yeah, a half star. What else did you expect? At first, I was like, why is Diction still listening to Drain Gang albums? And then you're like, well, I kind of bullied him into it.
Damn.
Oh, I've thought of a good segue actually into the next song I want to talk about. So speaking of words I don't really know 100% how to pronounce, the song Amidala is very good, and that came out around the same time as Crest, right?
Oh.
You mean amygdala?
Oh. Yeah, I was gonna
Well,
say.
see.
Okay. I just
in
had to
Blood-
make sure.
Wait.
Cultural difference. That's just
Quick
wrong.
counterpoint. In the video game Bloodborne, they
Go
say Amidala.
So
In
that-
English?
They couldn't be
so-
wrong, could they? They couldn't. Those Japanese guys hiring British
No,
voice
no, no,
actors.
no, no, no.
Yeah.
couldn't be wrong.
No. I didn't take an entire like brain studies course just to like.
No, sorry.
No.
Bloodborne has you-
Okay.
Bloodborne has you beat here, buddy. Remember. But no, amygdala then.
Yes.
Yeah,
That's
surely like H.P. Lovecraft Back from the Dead was couldn't
Yes.
be wrong about.
No, absolutely
about-
not. But yeah,
no, it's like the part of the brain that's like responsible for like emotions and like sexual stuff and like
makes sense given the content of the song.
attention. It's like I don't know. There's a lot of parts. But
Yeah, this
makes a lot of
is
sense.
This is probably one of their most like androgynous songs, I would say, or sounding.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
I think
sounding
this
songs.
would be the song that I would describe
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
It's a nice track,
Kinda.
I think. Not
it could have
like-
fit on the album. I feel like.
Is it-
Maybe.
I mean,
Maybe.
I
Girls
think it
Just
had a
Wanna Have
different
Fun-
sound,
Girls Just
but-
Want to Have Fun came out 2 years before the album came out. So
And I
like,
disagree. I disagree with the addition of adding that onto the. I don't think it works.
Who
And
even? It was Mechatalk, was it not, that produced this one? Yes, it was Mechatalk. You can. I should have been able to know that because his production has such a distinctive.
Yeah.
You know, I
It's
didn't
more bouncy, more like I don't know, synthetic.
I didn't really
almost.
know about I didn't know that about it being like released that much earlier. I mean, I was probably on the singles page somewhere. I could have figured that out, and I didn't mind, like it didn't feel jarring listening to it before, but then hearing it now that you say that, it does actually, you can kind of
And-
hear.
It might be because I over listened to it in 2019, and then I think it kind of like breaks the flow of like listening to like it as like a full album. I'm like, here's all these new songs that I just got, and then here's this song. It's just like it might have been something in my brain that like doesn't like it there, but I'm someone who like never listened to it before. It could be like a perfect track.
I mean, it's still, I mean, like, yeah, it's not like completely different. It's not, it fits the sonic palette of the album, but now that you say that, it does, there's a little bit, I don't know. I do feel like it's one of those cases where it's just such a high quality song, you put it on the album. And I'm trying to think of other cases like that where, I mean, and I'm blanking, but there's so many cases of this where you have a song that pops off and then 2 years later you put the album out and the song that popped off 2 years ago before you did the sessions for the album is still on the album.
What's the song that just came with the album that just came out that someone put out like a song from like 2017 on? Was it French Montana? Or am I?
Yeah, it was.
Oh, my goat. What is he doing?
I mean, he always does that.
I am
on an album from like 2020, I think, or 2021. So yeah.
But yeah, exactly.
I mean, Cardi, I want to say Cardi B did this too on her album.
Mm-hmm.
What song was that?
But that now I can't. I'm blanking on the song though. But it was like.
Was it that Up song? Maybe that was kind of big.
And obviously, it was not the Ben Shapiro meme song. It was not WAP. But what the fuck was it? It was on Invasion of Privacy.
WAP Drain Gang Edition.
Was it? She's only released Invasion of Privacy.
Bodak Yellow on WAP. Maybe that's what I'm not WAP. Was it on Invasion of Privacy? Maybe that's what I'm thinking.
Yes.
But that didn't come out.
But it was only like a year.
Was it? Yeah,
I think it was only like a year after.
It was like a year before, yeah.
But I think that came out like after time.
But still, they put that shit on there for streams, though. Let's be real.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's kind of how the game works.
Yeah, that's how it works. Yeah.
Can't really fault anyone these days, honestly.
No.
It's. I mean, like you can hate it, but like, what are you gonna do?
But I guess that's no different than lead singles back in the day too. You put out your lead single like 6 months ahead.
Ben, the funniest version of that is Autumn putting Still the Same on an album that came out 3 years after Still the Same came out.
My man, he's too desperate. It's kind of
that was like
it's a bit embarrassing.
I was like, why'd you do this album?
I have an old head question, and the whole Cameron server is going to laugh at me when they hear this. How are Autumn and Summers related?
As in,
they're not related.
Familial wise?
Yeah, like they have like mirror names. So I always thought they were like cousins.
Well, that part is very intentional because they like started making music like.
So they are part of like a collective or something.
Yeah, they were in a collective at one point.
Because I don't listen to either of them, but they get posted all the fucking time, and I'm like,
me neither. I've never.
They get dropped a lot in the Discord. For sure.
Both these two.
Well, so they're basically like very early. They're like the very early plug-in B pioneers, essentially. So they were, along with some producers, they started making music around the same time. So I imagine that the names were seasons for a reason. Like,
and
they were.
Where's Spring at then?
They have.
Yeah, nobody else.
Can changes his name to just like Spring
to Winter.
Winter without the exclamation point, but
Whelan's first thing was Winter, maybe. Like we don't know.
Wait, hold up. I've got another pronunciation question. It's not Wheeland, is it?
We had a big discussion about this. I remember.
So
it's either Wheeland, Wyland, or Wayland, and I'm pretty sure it's Wyland.
I thought it was Wyland at first.
Then
somebody was saying Wheeland, so I just listened to whoever somebody else was saying. I don't fucking know.
I'm pretty sure it's either Wyland or Wheeland.
Okay.
So flip a coin, essentially.
Whichever one. I think I pronounced it as Wayland at first, and someone made fun of me.
I mean, he doesn't even make plug music anymore, so I don't really give a fuck.
No, he makes like weird. I mean, it's not weird. It's actually very normal music.
It's
standard.
No, he makes
good.
Yeah.
His stuff is alright. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan.
Everybody hated him because Mike Dean ruined his shit or something.
Does he work with Mike Dean?
I don't think Mike Dean ruined him, but I do think
Did he
his
just
music
play a guitar solo or something?
That was like my profile for like 2 years.
Oh yeah, producer with Mike Dean. That's cool.
Yeah, Mike Dean did a lot of
They let him out of the dungeon.
That album he did, yeah. a couple years ago. I don't think Mike Dean ruined him, but I do think that his music got less interesting.
I can agree.
But-
I can agree.
Yeah, I
you
mean,
know,
I still
is
like
what it-
Dean. He's not in his peak era. I will still defend Mike Dean, but I will say what Mike Dean does to me, he puts his stamp on things in a way that is not for everyone's music, and he puts
Exactly how I feel.
his very so. As
he's
opposed,
he's just fucking blazed all the time. So you know, it's
no, he's Ruben, who does absolutely nothing to your music except put his name on it.
Yeah, he just sits there and nods his head.
And-
he's on a couch and is like, I'll take executive producer credits.
Yeah.
He nods his head, takes the bag, says, "You can put my name there." He sometimes might tell you there's too many drums there. I might take the drums out.
Like, you know, because like 99 Problems, like I just can't picture him making the beat.
You're saying that was like conspiracy, like that was actually a Timbaland beat.
I don't think it was like I can't picture him hunched over his whatever they used to make beats on back in the day. I don't know how to
The MPC.
Yeah, sure. I can't imagine him hunched over it making them drums, man. I can't picture it. I feel like he's an industry plant producer. I feel like he's just
think
there,
he picked
man.
the sample, or he was the source of the original sample, whatever that sample was. Like, I feel like that's one of those deals. And yeah, it was probably like fucking 16-year-old Knowledge made it or some shit. I don't know.
Wow,
Like,
I like that theory.
I just pulled a name out of a hat just because I think didn't Knowledge make Dr. Dre beats, or it's one of those things where it's like,
Yeah.
so you just
Chris is saying that Rick Rubin is the four bats of old school producers.
I mean, I listened to this one podcast called Rubenesque, which is a great name, which goes over every single thing his name has been attached to. And after about 1995, you see just a drastic increase in his name just being on stuff where it's like he's on one track on a greatest hits, or he's on some legacy band's album where like there's 5 other engineers, or he's on a live album where it's how much production are you doing on a live album? And then
all of a sudden it's just like a bunch of like rap rock credits in a row.
I mean, he's on a lot. I will say he's on a lot of really bad Red Hot Chili Peppers. Like, he's on every Red Hot Chili Peppers album.
I was gonna say on all Red Hot Chili Peppers albums bad. So,
But didn't he also do like 3 heavy promotion work on like 3 garbage M albums in the 2010s also?
He was on the Marshall Mathers LP2 with all of the
yeah, he did the Berserk one.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
He's
that's-
also
that
on
one's-
Rival.
I am loud. That song's terrible. That song's so terrible.
But he's also on a Saul albums. He also produced a Saul albums self-titled, which I have at a 10 out of 10. The Last Strokes album, which I have at a 10 out of 10.
Oh wow.
Yeah, no,
the abnormal one,
the
right?
new Abnormal, which I
mean,
was.
it
Yeah,
was-
that was a
cool.
good record. I like that one.
It was their best in a while, for sure.
I would-
Definitely.
Yeah, I would say it's probably. Well, I mean, I have Room on Fire. Yeah, 10 is probably a little hyperbolic considering I think Room on Fire is just as good, but I think those are their 2 best. Wyatt's sitting there just staring at his screen, being like, "So Drain Gang."
He's like,
Drink
guys, I can't believe we've done
Yeah, we
this.
should. we probably should get back to it. But I mean, I'm enjoying the Rick Rubin episode coming soon, right? We can talk
That'll
about his
never happen.
production work
I
on
was
Rain
gonna
in
say-
Blood.
His
He did stuff on
AC/DC
Rain and Blood,
compilation production. That's what we should talk about. Absolute garbage.
His acid-
Would
Oh,
Rick Rubin
I-
ever be in the studio with Drain Gang?
He was in the studio with Ferraro and White Armor and Metro, and they were all producing.
He likes to walk on the
He-
beat.
he-
therefore,
Yeah,
so-
he was sitting on the couch nodding his head like, yeah,
He's like,
that's Rick
change
Rubin,
up the
here's
beat,
a-
change up the drums.
Here's a
I
segue.
just feel like if I was making a beat and he was nodding his head, I would feel confident I was doing something right, though. Like he does have that energy about him, even though he has no talent at all. But from what we can gather, that like I just feel like I'd feel safe.
It's just because he has a beard.
Yes,
No,
that's exactly what it is. If he has
First
no
of all,
beard,
Authoritative.
I agree that he has a certain look and aesthetic and gives off that impression. So yeah, the beard definitely gives off that aura. But I feel like what the podcast I was mentioning kind of comes back to this point a lot is that he does, to agree with what everybody's saying, what he does is he makes artists comfortable, and that actually is something to be said for a producer.
Mhm.
Unlike, I don't know, I think like if you had modern day fucking Kanye in there like watching porn and drawing swastikas and maybe having other people in there fucking like actually doing the work that he can't do anymore, he might pick one sample. Not like, whereas Rick Rubin probably makes you feel cool and comfortable and like I mean, there's not every time he does that. Like, he notoriously ruined Delouse in the Comatorium by the Mars Volta. Like, Cedric and Omar fucking hated him because he was like, yeah, no. He took all my jokes about him taking out drums. That's based on that album, more or less. Like, he listened to the demos of that. He gutted the drumming on that album.
I've actually
That's
never
sad
heard
because Mars Volta drumming is like.
True.
Yeah. So, and he's done that on some other. Like, he does not know how rock drumming is supposed to sound.
Wow,
But-
we got fucking Ben indie rock takes. Wow, I didn't realize that.
What? No, I was a Mars Volta. That was like an OG band for me. Like,
no, shout out. Every podcast has one shout out to Ryan. So shout out to Ryan back in the day. One of the first times we were talking in 2003, he was sending me all because we were both big At the Drive-In fans. He would send me all of the Mars Volta demos that were coming out. And I was so hyped for the album. And the album came out and is great, but the demos have crazy ass drumming and like longer instrumental passages. And I'm not even talking about the ones that came out as Landscape, whatever, which are still great. But like, but yeah, the whole thing is, and Cedric's complained about this in interviews, and he kept saying we need to turn up we need more solos and we need to turn up your vocals. Like, he wanted to make
solos is like, that's all like, it's like the Mars Volta. Like, it's supposed to be like, you're supposed to amp up that shit. So like, it's just crazy when he would take it back.
So, but yeah,
that's a tough look.
So yeah, he just didn't understand what the band was about. He wanted to like downplay a lot of their like strengths just to make it sound like a regular or classic rock album.
The Slayer album.
So that was like probably last time you can.
You know what song Rick Rubin couldn't produce is "Disaster Prelude" with Kittenpuke on Spiderr.
Now that was
a masterful transition.
Yes, good in the studio, actually doing work on the production side.
He definitely couldn't have. Yeah, but no. Spiderr.
So Spiderr. So this is I would say, coming off of Crest, I think most people found the release of this pretty surprising, and maybe I would say maybe was like a pump fake as to what the next iteration of Blade could be, because he made this and then I thought he was going to go one way with his music after this, and then that didn't really happen. But
yes.
This is one of his most experimental releases for sure, to use an overused term.
Experimental in multiple ways.
Yeah.
Not all of which good, in my opinion. But I know some people fucking swear by this album, though. Some people say
it does seem like a cult album within the fan base, and just in general, like the divisive nature of it means you're gonna have as many ardent defenders as you will kind of people that are
like okay, here's what I do like about this album. The cover art, incredible.
I love the
fantastic.
Could not believe my eyes when I saw it the first time, but there we are. The single Drain Story is actually, I think, one of his best songs. I love that track. I just love the bounce of it and like the flow and just the bars, honestly. Like,
do you like the music video where he's like by the highway or whatever?
Yeah, he's like really freaking. He's been a real little freak in that music video. That's what I like though, when he's acting just acting strange in a public place. That's my favorite kind of played music video. That's kind of all of them, actually. Now that I think about it,
I'll be sure to recommend that to him. I'll DM him, say, why aren't you a freak more often?
Yeah, freak out way more, man. But yeah, this album, like, truthfully, probably the one I remember the least about because I've listened to it the least. But I mean, him and White Armor were definitely trying some things here, and there are some good tracks like Velociraptor, Icarus Freestyle. Understatement is a good opener too. There's good tracks. But I actually have very little to say about this compared to the others. So I welcome what anyone else has to add.
Yeah, unfortunately, this was the one I didn't really get to revisit. I heard it at the time. I enjoyed it. But like you're saying about like the music kind of washing over you sometimes, Ben, that's how I felt about this one. And this was the last one I got to in my kind of sprint marathon to get to stuff. I got about halfway through it before like some family type obligations caught up with me prior to the show, and I enjoy it. I can't point to a bad track or something. I probably have it like a solid 7, but yeah, it's weird for something that I can say does have a distinctive sound within his catalog. and is a definite hard pivot from where he was at with Crest. I think you can draw a straight line from Crest to Psykos than to here. This doesn't leave me with a whole lot to say. I do actually want to come back to it because I do think that it does have that distinctive sound. It's like got, for lack of a better term, glitchier production.
It's a good way to describe it. I would agree.
Yeah. Yep.
I think White Armor used like a very specific kit in his drums, and it just sounds, everything's very like sharp and almost high pitched in a way. It's like almost got a UK drill sort of like drum. Like,
totally.
Like timbre to it.
Yes, that should be. I mean, I'm not looking at the page right now, but I think like a UK drill to me should be like a secondary.
I don't even know if it's even like the rhythm. It's just like the sounds that were used feel very akin to that style.
I heard that on Drain Story when the single dropped. I was like, that's kind of, it's got that kind of like, it's just got that oomph, you know. But yeah, I mean, hey, look, if Blade ever does decide to hop on a UK drill track, imagine that. Is all I'm saying.
That would.
He'd have to pick one of the guys that isn't like going to jail for stabbing someone or something like that.
I was gonna say the scabberousness of the real life, you know, UK drill.
Bro, it's crazy, man. I mean,
insane. It's like, by the way, it's like that. It's like that over here in New York too. It's, you know, very.
Oh no, I'm sure it's the same. What bothers me so much about UK drill is the amount of bars about just chefing, man. That's what they keep saying. Like, what you know about? One time, legit, I heard this guy say on a song, "What you know about dipping your shank in shit and infecting man." That's disgusting. Right?
God,
that's like death metal lyrics. What the hell are you talking about? That's awful.
I can safely say I know nothing about that.
Yeah, that's what me and my friend was saying. Like, bro, we don't know nothing about that, and I don't want to know. Like, that's some hostile type activity.
Life.
Is that something just special that the UK does? Like,
yeah, they just be dipping their like confiscated police confiscated machetes in like giant piles of dog shit. That's what I'm picturing, at least.
They have to put it in like the evidence bags. They're like, oh my god, this is just like this so disgusting.
And look, all jokes aside, knife crime is a huge problem, but it is very funny when people say outlandish ass bars like that on what is essentially a very serious song. But yeah, anyway, maybe Blade's minor embrace of UK drill here was more tasteful, at least.
I mean, he has the right name if he wants to start going with those bars, at least.
Oh my god, that's so true. That's so true.
And you know, on that thing, like Blade, whenever other artists pay homage by using his line in songs, it's always the hardest shit. Without fail, the lines are usually good. Like when Smoking Skull said, "Blade on me, I'm a real drainer."
I mean, that's hard.
Him being from Sweden, like that at least makes sense. Like, you know, obviously, like, you know, Cray will do it. Now that makes sense because, and I'll get into this later because I have a whole kind of thought wheel about those two. But there is a real like synergy between the two of them, and so Cray says it when Cray says it on his solo stuff. It's like, you know, he's allowed to you know, constantly say whatever because they're, you know, they're obviously.
It's cool that they seem like they're actually friends. Like
the music and just like it's a perfect mesh. They're very like simpatico with each other. So, but yeah,
I just wanna...
usually when people use Blade's name in songs,
it's always cool.
But you were saying, Chris.
Very, very quickly, shout out the feature on this album from Wonder Mountain, who is a double check where they're from actually, because
Mongolia.
That's right.
Mongolia.
I have heard some of their stuff. They've got a song with Young Lean, Divine Madness, that's pretty cool. I think they were actually a very good choice for this album in terms of a feature. And I hope people check them out as a result. I'm not in love with the song that they're on, but I just wanted to mention it's not often you get a non-Drain feature on a Blade project these days, and so that was worth mentioning.
He's dropped like nothing though. I feel like there's been
it's just singles from a while back.
He was doing like a clothing line. I feel like
I didn't actually know that.
I bet it was like really cool. It had a lot of like insane symbols on it. Blade was wearing some, but
Oh, sick.
I don't know. He hasn't done a lot of music lately. So it looks like that's the only thing he's done in the past 4 years.
Shit, yeah. Well, I'm looking at some singles now. Well, I would say go check out Divine Badness. Anyone who hasn't, with Lean, it's a good track. But yeah.
Speaking of Lean, and I know we haven't talked about, his solo, like his catalog will deserve a separate solo episode as well.
Yes, I would love to get that too.
We will definitely, not to let the cat in the bag, but that will definitely be happening with yourself, Chris, at some point. But
cool.
I would want to say, did we want to just, because I think around this time as well, he put out Stardust, which I think is an interesting thing just to touch on, because
sure,
that was sort of in a similar vein. I wouldn't say similar to, I wouldn't say it's similar to like Spiderr any of that way, or even Crest, but it is a part of this kind of Drain Gang arc that they've been going through in the 2020s, where you have like the Skrillex prod.
Right, that's what I was gonna.
And they had done. They were on. Weren't they on a Skrillex project?
Yeah, they were on the one that everyone hates with the
with
AI hedgehog on the front.
The hedgehog, yes.
But extremely scorching hot take. I think the albums are just a really good pop album. I see no issue with it at all. It's so inoffensive.
I think it's okay. It's just the other Skrillex album is better in my opinion.
Oh no, the Quest for Fire is actually really good. But
that one's good.
The funniest thing about this album is the song with Chief Keef, because it's so like shit, but it's kind of good at the same time. That's
like Soldier to me. That's like what the song Soldier off of the 2018 album does. It's like that like dance pop stuff, but he just like
that's that whole album more or less. Like that album's just like
the Cozart, I think. Yeah,
the Cozart. My phone.
It's not even on streaming anymore because where the hell's it gone? I don't know. It's not on Spotify.
I'm sure he hates it, but I don't know. I like
it's such a crap cover. It feels really.
It's a terrible cover.
It feels really like label influenced.
I think it's 100% label. I don't think he had a single say in anything.
But
that one in terms of like all the other stuff that came out right after is like significantly better to me. Like it's not a bad album, but it's
that Bad For Me song on Skrillex's album though with Corbin is like like Corbin sounds like a whiny ass little bitch on that song, but it's hilarious. The song is so fucking funny. Like I can't stop listening.
That's how Corbin always sounds though.
He does
sounds extra whiny though. Like oh my god. But that Skrillex album is the only album maybe to ever exist that has Bladee and Justin Bieber on it. So,
it's not the only thing though. Wasn't there that picture?
The picture, yes.
Oh, that's right. Of
Justin Bieber and Young.
Yes.
Yeah.
Bieber? Yeah. Super cool.
Yes, that was very early on.
It was, yeah. But you with reference to Stardust, that Summertime Blood song is a Drain Gang song. Fleet's just on it. So
I love
that's
that
definitely worth mentioning. Oh, it's a beautiful track.
It's
similar
so bouncy.
to Amygdala, I said it right that time. Similar to Amygdala, it's like sort of release and but obviously Skrillex's thing is more like drop focused. And since then they've done like quite a few. They did that Ceremony track as well with Skrillex.
And obviously Skrillex showing up on Cold Visions, which we will get into.
Of course, but doing the UK garage thing on Ceremony, and I don't know, like it is really cool that they're working with him. I think Skrillex deserved a second wind, or
I'm so
actually
happy.
like a fourth wind at this point. To be honest with you,
first to last.
It seems like
first to last.
It seems like the Skrillex evolution continues to happen, and for the most part, I think the music is at the very least interesting. So I like that. But in terms of like Stardust, talking, speaking of Skrillex, like Lips is a really good song. I also love the fucking the Trip song, which is
that was the single, wasn't it?
Yeah,
that's like Woesome.
Oh no, that's Bliss. Never mind. Yeah,
that's the Woesome and White Armor, right? Yeah, I mean, I know White Armor is on the album a number of different times.
It's like a mix, that album, I think, or maybe it is all White Armor actually.
No, you're right. It is a mix from what I'm seeing, because you have Sherman, you have Woesome, you have Skrillex.
You got Jack Donahue on one of the projects, one of the songs, I believe. If I'm not
Yeah,
mistaken.
it's one of the ones toward the end, I think.
People really don't like Stardust though.
I
Like, really
love
don't
I
like
don't
I love
understand why. It's
Stardust. To
for
I
me, it
think
me,
was
it's
good. I
the.
like.
Hmm. Well, I was gonna say I think it'll be more interesting. To be interesting for a potential lean episode because this one coming off of shit. What was the one before this? Just
Stars.
Stars.
Yeah.
Right. I
Yeah.
thought Stars. Not all that really, but that's just me. But I'll expand on that another time.
I guess we're gonna have to go. Yeah, we're gonna have to go head to head on that one because I like I love
Fair.
Stars.
But like to
But,
me, that was way more exciting, and I think him branching out, doing the post-punky intro type track with FK Twigs and all of this, like I thought that stuff was so sick, and that does tie into what we see on Psykos as well. So I'm all for lean trying totally different shit. Although
and the Jonathan Leandour stuff, the solo stuff, or rather
that is
different.
a necessary thing to talk about for Psychos for sure. Yeah, because that's
like
what
just
leads to
just him making him making a lot of different rock, pop, singer songwriter stuff as well. But before we do get to Psychos, there is one more thing we have to talk about. Before we even do that, does anybody have any last words on Spiderr? Or I mean, Ben, how do you kind of? I guess at the time you talked about feeling like you loved it, and then there was kind of a period you didn't listen to it. Like, did you revisit, and did you have similar feelings, different feelings? Like, how do you feel about it now?
I definitely like just revisiting it. Of course, like you go back and you listen to all these songs, and you're like, "This is so great," and it grew off me at the time. But this is like it's his quirkiest, and it definitely is his most eclectic. And I agreed with like the comparison of like Stardust. I feel like it was a lot of ideas from the past and present that Bladee and Young Lean have like experimented with, and they were all kind of thrown into one project. And I love it. I love that kind of idea of just like a big conglomerate of a bunch of different ideas put into like a non-cohesive sort of way. I don't know. It didn't need to flow, in my opinion. It was just a bunch of good tracks. I want to highlight She's Always Dancing, which I feel like always gets overlooked towards the end. It's just so beautiful. It's made me cry, to be honest, multiple times. It's that Scarface sample at the end. It's so tough. I don't know. Something about that track really gets to me. But like, there's some classics on here. Icarus 3 Style. Everyone knows that one. That was a fan favorite, I feel like.
Yeah.
When it dropped. Haha, everyone. I feel like went crazy for that one. But yeah, overall, I'm glad it happened, and I think it's good looking back, because at the time, it may have been like, oh, I don't know where he's going with this direction. Like, it kind of seemed like you didn't really know what the next step was going to be in his evolution. But like now looking back with like Cold Visions dropping, it's a nice little footnote in a way. I don't want to call it a footnote, but like it's nice to just look back on it and be like, this isn't exactly where he's going, but
yeah,
it's nice to have it in the books, I guess.
I totally agree. Like it's probably my least favorite Bladee project if I have to stack them all up, which is a tough thing to do.
Yeah,
it's probably my least favorite Bladee solo project for sure. But
over Good Luck? Are you Good Luck?
Oh no, sorry, I forgot about Good Luck.
Okay, just making sure.
Right.
Just
nope,
in case you forgot.
Good Luck. Half of Good Luck is great, but it's barely an album.
Rainbow.
Yeah, it's barely an album, and I mean, technically that's not a solo. I mean,
it technically. I mean, no one else.
Yeah. Aside from Good Luck, then yeah, Spiderr is my least favorite and the one I come back to the least. But yeah, I mean, still a very good body of work. Sort of similarly to what we were just saying about Crest. Like even the stuff that you might rank near at the bottom is still better than a lot of people's music. And Bladee is he's nothing if not consistent. Although it's just that when he really tries, he's fucking superb. That's as we'll see in about 2 albums time. But
so I guess we got to take a Thaiboy detour before.
Oh boy!
Yes.
Oh man, do we have to? No, I'm joking.
Oh my gosh! Do not.
Damn.
I don't know what to say about this one though.
Not the drinking CEO slander.
I will be the one to say stuff about this album then.
Okay. So because back in the previous episode, Chris, and I know Patrick, we all, and back, and shout out to Seth, aka J-Word, he was on that episode, and we were collectively extolling the virtues of legendary member, and even before that, we had extolled the virtues of Tiger.
Both amazing.
So but back to life. This album didn't leave y'all with the same feelings. I know Patrick just listened to it.
Well, I mean, if this were the '90s, I would be taking this back to Tower Records.
Oh no!
It truly is. It truly is like it's like this is like actually nearly a sophomore slump, like legit, nearly.
You guys are breaking my heart here.
It's
Okay,
not
This is way better than Legendary Member in my opinion.
You're smoking.
Whoa!
First of all,
What are you talking
let's
about?
not fucking go crazy.
That's
I don't hate
insane.
that.
I put it almost tied with Tiger. Almost.
Oh, I couldn't disagree more, man.
Okay. What I will say is, if you take the posse cuts, I think I just put this really quick in my log as my thoughts on this. If you take the posse cuts, you have a cool EP. If you take away the posse cuts, you have like the bottom of Drain Gang.
If this was a Young Lean and Blade collaborative album with Thaiboy on every song, it would be a 4-track EP, a really good 4-track EP. I couldn't agree more. Could not agree more.
Maybe it's just the place I am in my life, but like I don't know. This album's just all about like loving life. It's hugely romantic. It's just lots of songs about love. That's the kind of stuff I need right now, and I'm feeling.
That's fair.
So
maybe you need the positivity. Yeah.
I'm loving the positivity. I love what Thaiboy brings, and I think this is honestly, besides Cold Visions, this is my favorite that's dropped since out of all these projects.
I can't get on board with that at all. I feel like there's more positivity on Crest. I mean, Crest has a lot of mournfulness to it, but I think Crest overall has a lot more love of love. I mean, like the thing, Thaiboy's delivery is. I see what you're saying, but I feel like Thaiboy's delivery is just so flat on a lot of this.
Oh,
see, I don't know.
So
I think
flat.
What do you mean by flat? Like the lyrics or like the tone?
No. I think his actual flow and just his presence on the songs, and it's different on the posse songs. I feel like he steps up more on the songs.
I can see that. But I feel like that's because the songs are more like upbeat in comparison.
But like the content is still, like you said, about loving life and lifestyle stuff. And I feel like the lyrics are fine. And I don't know, it just like he just feels there's a lack of life to it compared to a lack of life in the overall delivery compared to the message, I suppose.
I've got a quick anecdote, and one of the reasons I actually found this album to be underwhelming. So I saw these guys live. The last time I saw them live, which was after we did the last podcast, I think it was 2022 actually. And at that show, he performed the song "Alive."
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And it sounded fucking amazing.
It sure did.
Good. Sounded so good live. I was like, oh my god, this is some of Thaiboy's best fucking singing. He sounds incredible. And I turned the album version on, and it was actually like listening to a shit karaoke version. Like he sounded so fucking flat. Like he just wasn't hitting the notes. He didn't have the same impact. So that one disappointed me a lot. And I think that's what skewed me towards finding a lot of this. I'm with Pat completely. This is mostly, it's like Thaiboy is such a likable guy, and he's got so much love to give. And you know, he got married, and like his life is going great, and I'm very happy for him. But this album it's just not it on the. But I will say, True Love is incredible. Obviously, we can all agree on that, right?
When he hits the
that's
L'amour toujours, when Lean hits that. And that goes crazy.
The Kingdom is also probably my favorite song.
I think it's really backloaded, to be honest.
Oh, 100%. And 3-Star Reunite as well. Incredible track.
Yeah.
I love the hook on that one.
I would like to shout out Chops, aka One Chops' review, where he talks about, I'm going to quote it, the overarching themes of the Thaiboy discography are loyalty to love, loyalty to friends, swag is a victory over depression, life is a miracle, everything is possible, and designer goods are a path to achieving swag.
It's not wrong.
Really, we're all just miserable and swagless. Yeah.
Well, not
speak for yourself.
Except for you, yeah.
Yeah, I'm locked in with. I like this album a lot, actually, on revisiting.
Oh, really? Oh.
I had a Ben moment where I listened to it once back in the day. I know, Ben.
This is just my
That was
moment.
that was
Ben
unfortunate.
Say one thing and it just becomes you.
That was an unfortunate shot. No. So I listened to it once around the time it came out. I was like, oh, this is good. I like this. And I re-listened to it yesterday, and I was like, you know what? I don't know. I'm really rocking with this. I like this more than. I mean, I don't like it in the way that I like obsessively listened to Legendary Member or obsessively listened to Tiger. You know that, and those I think are Legendary Member to me is like one of my favorite summer albums, like to this day. Like it's so beautiful, and I love that Tiger is like kind of in contrast to that, more of like a late winter, early spring kind of album where it's like frozen. It has that old school icy, dripping with bass.
That's winter for sure.
Drain sound. And this album is kind of like, in terms of his 2020 stuff, I like it a hell of a lot more than like his club pivots, like the DJ Billy Bull stuff.
Yeah.
Not rocking
Which is
Billy
goofy
Bull.
and
Oh my god!
silly.
You ain't rocking with the Billy Bull slander. Nah, I'm joking.
No, that stuff isn't bad. It's just not like I'm not gonna go back.
That Som Jag, I don't know how the hell you say that in Swedish. Song is pretty cool though. I do like that song with the fuck's on that. It's just with him. It's
It's him, right?
and Blades. I think maybe Blades. I'm not sure, but that track's good. I like it.
I think it's a nice detour. I like that he goes down that path, but like
I think
obviously it
this
doesn't
is,
hold a
like,
candle to his main
This
work.
album, while I still wouldn't put it up with the two that I love and everybody knows that that we all love, I wouldn't put it up against those two. But I did really appreciate it a lot more because I think it does distill not quite everything I want from a Thaiboy album, but close in the sense that it is such a good vibe and such a such a shot of ethereal optimism.
Yep.
That it kind of feels like it brightens your horizons, when listening to it. And I really enjoyed it. And even though I didn't listen to it at all in like the last year and a half, maybe I'll fix that. Maybe I'll put it more in rotation. I think I was pleasantly surprised with how much I like this on rewatch or re-listen.
One thing he did do is completely up his cover art game even more, though. I mean, come on.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
So you're saying this is better than the
I mean, we talked in length about the stretched money firing towards the screen. While dressed like the Pope riding a unicorn, or just a regular horse cover. I think we decided it was just a regular horse, but I mean, here he has what, like is that a katana? And is that?
I thought it was just like a cool
one or possibly both his
cane.
hands are golden. That is a katana. He has a neon jacket. He has fucking a busty anime chick in the clouds.
Yes.
That's his wife.
That's
maybe his wife's a busty anime chick. Who says
when you go to Thaiboy heaven, that's up there.
This is also all happening around a chain link fence, by the way, for some reason.
Right. With dollar bills in the
back
corners.
to life, man. He's coming out of a grave or something. That would be
he's got money littered all around him.
But he's also in front of
Where are his legs?
They're in what looks like a ball pit.
I literally can't see his fucking legs. They just
Why is there like
he's thoroughly dissipating into a celestial ball pit full of money.
Yeah.
The tie under the fur coat is it a fur coat? I don't know. Whatever.
This is OJ Juice Man level.
Yes.
The highest.
The only thing missing from this is like we need it to be like labeled like Ben Garrison style. Like his kid. Yeah, everything needs to be labeled like quite obviously, and then you can draw like an arrow to like the anime chick's ass and be like anime chick, or like whatever, like
dollar bills, katana.
Yes.
There is nothing cooler than a katana, so like what I mean.
He also you gotta have the shades too. He's locked in, Future's so bright. Thaiboy's future's so bright.
Yeah.
That's right.
I look forward to a better album next time. Is all I'll say.
Yeah.
But this
I
one
like
was fine.
I do like the fact that we had disagreement on this one. Like I
Yeah.
do.
This is the first time we've majorly disagreed.
Yeah.
Like,
And I
Like-
still,
I think in terms of how we would rank it, I think Ben definitely likes it the most, then myself, and then there's a drop, and then y'all
Yeah.
end up, you
I'm
know.
probably at the bottom, and I still have it at like I would say a high 6. Like, and like I said, like Chris and I agree on like the EP aspect of it. If you have the Drain tracks, together, still a fantastic EP. And I put Mr. CEO at the end too. I think Mr. CEO is a really great closing track. I mean, never.
it's a
changes
very
my
solid closer.
European,
But Mr. CEO is a really cool,
sure.
emphatic closing statement. He's still charismatic. I think there's like nothing outright bad here so much as like flat. Like I said, like I feel like he just kind of for the overall vibe the album's trying to give, he just has a bit too of a let's politely say relaxed, more harshly say apathetic delivery.
Lethargic in some
Lethargic's a great way to put
Yeah.
it.
But like in a way, that's like what Drain Gang is like somewhat known for. It's like those lethargic type vocals. So like for someone to like come, and I understand it may be like more pronounced here, I guess. But like I don't know. I always just the vocals.
The beats are all good, by the way. Like
Yeah.
the beats
It's
are all
very
good.
The Fool. Like so a lot of these tracks feel like they came from like The
I think
Fool.
some of them are Lucy. So I think.
Oh yeah,
so
for
that
sure.
would make
Yeah,
sense.
yeah,
Some of them
there
must be.
is some.
I don't think there's
some
any.
ritual.
The Kingdom
any
sounds
breaks.
just like D9 is Up, in my opinion. It's got that same sort of synth.
Oh, it
That's
does.
why it's my favorite song.
Yeah.
And yes, that one is Lucy, by the way. So that
Mhm.
checks out.
Yeah.
And why?
Well, I mean,
Armor-
also he
that.
put out
Yeah.
he put out I'm Fresh this year.
Oh my
right?
god! Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I'm Fresh should have been on this album. I don't know why it
100%.
wasn't.
Where
love
would it
that.
have gone? I don't think it would fit. I don't think
First song. Doesn't matter about the sequencing. They can do what Deftones did with Type Pony.
that is okay. I
They
can
just slap
see
it on
it.
retroactively. They're like Type
Chris
Pony.
just wanted to say I'm fresh.
Jeff Bezos.
That's still, I think, my most played song.
Should we get these
ever.
pesos? It's too good.
All right,
man.
second indie rock digression. What Deftones did to my pony. My pony. What Deftones did to my pony. What Deftones did to White Pony was not their choice, and actually is the shittiest thing about that album.
True, and that's what. But I like that song. I like
It's an okay
Do
song. It's
me.
also the worst song on the album. And it's just, but yeah, that was the label's decision. So, but I get what you're saying. I get the point you're making. It's just
Yeah,
that was
Year
not right.
2001 should have been like Thaiboy. We need I'm Fresh as the lead single, so we're putting it at the start. Doesn't matter about the sequencing. I probably would have liked it more, honestly. But that song's fun. That song's just fun.
That
you know?
song's so fun.
It's just great.
I love that song.
The beats,
Yeah.
just. I mean, you just want to bounce up and down, don't you? I don't know who
Yeah.
produced it. It was White Armor, actually.
It
Interesting.
was, yeah.
That was definitely
That was what I
that
remember.
song was definitely
Yeah.
like a "We're So Back" moment, which I will.
Yeah,
Obviously, there are
it
many.
was so fucking.
we are so back, which of course we will get to that conversation. But I do want to say, leading into Psykos, I didn't really know what we were gonna get, and so when Psykos dropped, I was very, very. I mean, duh, this is an obvious statement. I was very interested in it, but like, what we got is something that I didn't anticipate the two of them dropping. But I think that it was, you could see it coming, like going back and looking at it. I will say that my first listen didn't move me very much, but I have listened to it a lot since then, and it has grown on me considerably. I think that 3-song run of Ghost, Golden God, and Still is an excellent run of songs, and this is a good project. It's quite emotional. I could see I could understand if somebody found it mediocre. I really could, just because it's something that you have to really be on its wavelength to like, I think. But I quite liked it, especially on repeated listen. So I'm curious as to how you guys felt about it.
I was very surprised to learn that they were doing an album, because I've been saying for years, we need a Lean and Blade album. In my mind, that album all sounded like Gotham City or something like that.
Oh,
So
please.
obviously that was never going to
my
happen.
God.
Obviously, that was never going to happen now. But
Yeah.
like, I was like, oh man. And then the album came out. I was like, all right. So we're doing the kind of a post-punk, kind of just I guess just like moody alt rock type thing. And I liked it, man. 20 minutes, you can't complain. That's the thing. This album does not outstay its welcome. Every song is good. There definitely is a stronger stretch at the start, and then it caps off with Things Happen. And Things Happen is awesome. But Ghosts probably is just the best song here. Like that one, just I don't know.
Yeah,
like
I think we can agree.
it just gets you. It just gets you good. And I think Lean is definitely better suited to this style of music. Than if that's a hot take, because he's already been doing it a lot more in the past, like with Jonathan Leandua 127,
Correct.
96. I don't know which one he goes by now, but maybe, yeah. But yeah, when he did that Blood, Hundar and Lullabies album, this reminded me of that one kind of a little bit, or some of the singles he's done. But yeah, like this, like when he does that he does spoken word on the first song. So,
yeah, he's doing like true poetry type stuff. Like the lyrics, I feel like you really have to like sit down and like almost study them in a way. Because like to me, it's clear that like the highlight of this album is the songwriting and the lyrics. I wish I gave it more time to like really sit down and like read over what they all are saying. But like, I don't know, this one needed to be studied for sure, especially the first track.
Oh, absolutely. Because absolutely. I think the instrumentals being quite not bare bones, but I mean, the producer Palmistry.
Palmistry, yeah.
Yeah, he's such a talent, man. He is. He's like for anyone who hasn't listened to his albums, anyone listening, his album Afterlife.
It's one of my all-time favorites.
Awesome fucking album. Highly, highly recommended.
Yes.
His recent one is cool too, Tinkerbell. Bit different, but that's got a track with Lean and a track with Blade.
Yeah, Blade.
Also, shout out to Triad God.
Shout out Triad God. Shout out Palmistry.
All those guys are awesome.
I have to hear that new one. I am not tapped in.
The Blade song is so fun. It's just like a little poppy number. It's very fun. And then the Young Lean one is very similar to this, actually. Very, very similar to this. That song could have been on here. Like it's very similar themes of like that, like dark, ominous, but kind of hopeful in a sense. I guess this album focuses more on that too. Sort of like just post-punk style. Yeah, it's good. I don't have a huge amount to say on this one. Sort of like Crest, I really like it. I haven't really, unfortunately, because this dropped only like a
couple months ago, yeah,
before Cold Visions.
Yeah,
I didn't really have time to even absorb this one.
Exactly, that's how I feel.
But it's fucking good. I'd be interested to see what Pat thinks, though.
Yeah, I first of all, I was under the impression this was not received very well. Instead of 3.2, 3.3 on RYM, which is not super high, I suppose.
I think it was received very lukewarmly.
I mean, I think there were certain expectations for a Lean and Blade project that this was not. I don't want to say not exceeding. It was not even meeting. It was going very left of them. And I was also told it was a dream pop album, which there are dream pop elements to it, and maybe one or two straight up dream pop songs. It's not a dream pop album. I would call it, in my old head ass vernacular, an alt rock album. This is the shit that
it's just like an atmospheric alt rock, I would say.
This would get played on the alt rock Y100 station in 1999. It would, and that is a high compliment for me. I have it right now at a 7. I think I would move it up to an 8 just on repeat listening, because I think, again, this would definitely hold up to repeat listening. I think it's very moody, very well written. I think that it builds on the songwriting structures of Crest, but it's a very, very different, darker, like emotional palette going on here. I think Lean is more well suited to it, but I think Blade is not ill suited to it. I think if I do have a criticism, it's that it is a bit front loaded.
Mm-hmm.
I would agree. Enemy is great.
And I love Things Happen, man. That track is so nice.
I mean, it's strong, but I think that the run of the first 4 is the strongest, and then it drops off a bit the last 2. I mean, again, what you were saying though, it's 20 minutes. How much can it drop off? Like,
exactly.
Okay, 5 minutes of it are less good than the other 15, and they're still fine. So, like Sold Out and Hanging from the Bridge are good songs that aren't. And I'm only going off 1.5 full listens. One full listen and another listen where I listened to the first 4 and Enemy and Things Happen.
Mm-hmm.
So those I think we pretty much align 100% on this, Pat. Like those first four songs, it really, especially tracks 2 through 4, and then Enemy and Things Happen. I've played those a lot, and kind of like I said in the beginning, I was kind of split, a little lukewarm on it. It wasn't really connecting, but I bumped my rating up already since then, and I might even do so again. I think this is a real. I think it's cliche to say, oh, it's underrated, because really no drinking project is going to be underrated these days. Like, that's just, that's not really how things go. But I think that this is a little more lyrically naughty than I think people will give it credit for as well. I think the lyrics and the songwriting are better than, and I'll use for frame of reference, not even just like RYM, but I think general like DG fans who were expecting something more maybe, poppier or rap-ish focused. Like, I find this to be, at points, I don't want to say it for the whole thing, but at points I find this to be similar to some of the stuff that Lean was doing on Sugar World. Even though that's more glam rock type stuff, I understand, but just in a way that it has this like 2000s feel to it.
Yeah. Totally.
I find
there's definitely like a
similar.
nostalgia element to it. Like, it feels very like they're tying back to like music that they listened to a lot, probably in like their teenage years. That sort of like gloomy gothic sound, I feel like, comes out a lot here too. And that was music here.
Yeah, in terms of the Lean stuff, like, the Jonathan Lean doer, like Sugar World and Blood Hunter or Hundar, those are like really, really good projects, and they're very studied and emotional as well.
Yeah.
And I found this to be of a piece with like those two projects. So yeah, I quite liked it, and I think that it's a nice contrast too for it to come out ultimately in the same year. Now that we have the context of Cold Visions,
yeah,
it's wild. I mean, like, as well, when Lean do a whatever, he is a creator. He can't allow himself to break out of boxes that people have put him in. Even though he's tried his best to break out of them on projects like Stranger and Stars and so on and so forth.
right?
People still consider him a rapper a lot of the time, and I think on those projects he can really let loose. But it's funny because on here I like his voice so much more than I like it on those albums. Can't really explain why. Like, for example, Sugar World, I'm not gonna lie to you, like, I know his singing is not for everybody, and I love his singing a lot of the time. But like, even on that album, Sugar World, he was really he was pushing my buttons a little bit sometimes. I was like, I'm not sure if you can sing like this, brother. This really isn't doing it for me. But then on here, he sounds great. So I don't know whether it's just like a higher production value, like he wants the singing to be mixed nicer or something. But this is an interesting contrast, as well as a build on the albums you reference. And also, I think Blade slots in pretty well overall. I don't think he detracted from any of the songs or the mood of them. I think they kind of went 8 for 8 on here, for being real. Like, I know we're saying like the first 4 and the last 2, but that only does leave 2 songs out of a 20-minute album. So,
and I will say, if I give this like more listens in the coming months, I'll probably get to that.
Yeah.
8 for 8, like, it's more of the 2 songs that I mentioned not being as strong. I don't remember them too much off the top of my head, so I wouldn't want to talk about them without like a very solid frame.
It's not a catchy album, I would say. It's more like about the atmosphere and the production and like the lyrics. I wouldn't call it like hook driven in a way. So it makes sense that like a lot of it might not stick.
I think Ghosts and Golden
Ghosts and Silk to me.
Yeah.
Those I think are pretty hooky in the context of the sound of the album.
But I think it was like the production, like the guitars and the cymbals and sort of like that wall of sound crashing and sort of like over each other. That
does kind of have that like soaring nature to it.
Yeah, it was kind of like everything being mixed together, almost blending in as one. And I think Blade actually is a highlight on this project, even over Lean, especially on a track like Ghosts. I think the washed production really suits his vocals. Almost like an early like 2013 style when he was like drowned out by like insane sound effects, like on Magic Song. I can kind of see like the sort of similarities of just being like overthrown with like a bunch of like guitars and cymbals.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. That
Mhm.
Yeah, interesting because what I said before about it being similar to Crest, but what you said about it not really being that hooky, I think that it does have similarities to Crest in terms of like songwriting, but not in the hooks. But what you were saying in terms of just like not overproduction, but like very unified full production.
Yeah.
It takes that from Crest, but it doesn't take like Crest is just hitting you with hook after hook after hook,
Mhm.
where hitting you with the wall of sound of Crest, but it doesn't leave you with the hooks. It wants you to focus more on the lyrics and the overall atmosphere. And
Totally
that
agree.
polar opposite of Crest. So in that way, it's not so much a sister album as like a photo negative album.
it's like
It's a
the
good way to
evil
put it,
version of
actually.
Crest. Yeah, it's like evil antagonist. Also, I saw someone say I do really like the album cover. It's cute as hell, and also
I like the frogs.
the frog is cool. But
Eh.
someone seems to be implying that this is a better cover than Spiderr in this review I'm reading here, which I don't agree with because I think Spider's just so much more like, I mean, like bam, dick shot and a spider. Like, do you know what I mean? Like that's just cool, man. Like, I don't know. And I mean, when we get to Cold Visions in roughly, I imagine, a minute, we can talk about how good that album art is too. But yeah, I mean, I like the frog. The frog's cool.
I don't know. The problem, I mean, I see an argument for it. The more I look at it, the less it bothers me. But the overall photo is so good that I think that's a great photo, and then they have the frog on it. That's just kind of like, but I get it. I don't think, and I'm like, I have no particular affinity for the frog.
What a
shout out
sentence!
frogs.
What a sentence! No particular affinity.
Patrick's,
It's okay,
Patrick,
Pat. You don't need to. You don't need to.
Patrick's anti-tadpole.
Well, no, what it reminds me of, and this will probably mean nothing. It'll certainly mean nothing to Chris. But I don't know if it'll mean anything to Caleb because he wasn't born. The fucking WB frog, Michigan J frog. Shout out to them.
Hello, my
Oh,
baby.
yes,
Hello, my
yes.
honey.
Oh, I know who
Hello,
that
my
is.
baby. Hello, my honey.
Yes,
That's a classic.
Shout out.
Yeah.
I love that.
And then he pretends he can't do it, and it pisses the guy off. Yeah, that's what that's about, right? I think.
Yeah,
Is that
that's
right?
exactly what it's about.
But the cover without the frog.
Sure. Yeah, it's
Without-
this actually is a concept album about Michigan J frog suicide after the failure of the WB as a network.
The cover without the frog would be the most 2000s looking shit in the world, though. I think. Like, I don't know why that screams 2000s to me. I guess it's not actually. No,
I don't. I see it like 2001, like post-hardcore, obscure.
yes,
type
like
stuff.
almost like I mean, I'm going to be unable to think. Metalcore albums used to love having like a building at night on the front cover, or like a street.
This is
Well, I
like
mean,
next Converge album cover.
Is
Yeah.
very knows. So
To be fair, every Converge album cover has like some insane drawing by James.
Yeah, I was gonna say that would be too tame for a Converge album.
Yeah,
cover.
Converge. Yeah, I mean, Converge do it different. To be fair,
Yeah.
but yeah,
Speaking of insane album covers, shall we now get to the
we
main
gotta
event?
get to it.
The main
There's no
event of
point
the
being
main
rushed.
event of the podcast, at least.
Oh boy, rubs hands
which-
together like Birdman. Let's
Which,
go.
this
I'm
is
ready.
this we're gonna have to all like hold. We're gonna have to hold everybody back. Everyone's gonna have to get their takes off about this one. I will just say at the top, the day. Fully more getting back into my story from the beginning of the podcast. So the day that Cold Visions ultimately dropped, I remember the paranoia. Well, let's go back like a week or two. A week or two before the album dropped, the song TLDR dropped.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah, we gotta.
When it
talk about
came
that.
out, I listened to it the first time just because it was a New Drain song. Cool, why not, right? No context for what it was. And I was so floored
bro.
that I listened to it that weekend about, I don't know, like 70 times. Like, it's just unbelievable. I mean, my first initial reaction was like, Echo sounds like a fucking, like, god on this. Like, this is
I
this
was
is some of the best
hyped,
rapping.
bro.
It's
was
like some
back
of the
on his
best
bleach
rapping he's
shit.
ever done. Oh my
I was
god.
like, oh my god, like I was acting like LeBron in that meme. Is it LeBron where he's like, can't believe this is my life or whatever?
Yeah, yeah.
He's smiling through it all.
Smiling through it all. I was like, holy shit, TLDR, bro. They're
That
back.
was a
And they
moment.
And they still
That
want
was
to hear
that.
GTR. Yes, Echo. I kind of do. I'm not going to lie to you, man. So thank you. Thank you for bringing it
When
back.
he was like, when the beat switches and the little melody comes in, and then he hops on so smooth, and he's like, "You wouldn't believe what they say about his bad PR." I'm just like, "Oh, we are so fucking bad."
I could not, bro. That beat, I didn't know why Armor could do that.
Yeah.
Real talk. Like, what the fuck?
That
is
to
insane.
this, the minute the song, like that first weekend when I had played it like 70 times or whatever, I was just like, okay, so this is song of the year, like already, like the first weekend, and I was like, wait a minute. There was a feeling in my head. The reason why I really kept saying we are so back, I was like, wait a minute. I didn't know I could like really obsess over like it's like it felt like back in 2020 or something. Like I didn't know I could obsess over a DG song so much like I was with this song. And then I remember thinking, oh, wouldn't it be so sick if they put out like one last collab album? Like, wouldn't that be so cool? That's what I thought it was building to. So then fast forward a couple weeks and the Paranoia intro drops. And I'm like, oh shit, it's Filthy. Like, oh my gosh, like I've been wanting like another song with Filthy since like, since like April 2020. Like I remember, in 2020, right around when COVID hit, that was the time that those couple months when I was like most obsessed with working on Dying, not even just as a production, a collective, but as that particular tape as well, and everything that they were doing with Blade. So, and like I've said before multiple times on the pod, like that is still one of my favorite rap projects of ever. That is a very important project to me. Much like Ice Dancer, as well as you can see where we're going here now that I've said those two are my favorite and have been my favorites, because so that day I was at a dinner with my family, and there's a group chat that I'm in with some good friends who are also, we have similar music taste. And the chat is blowing up. And I'm looking at it and I'm like, oh shit, it's an album? Because I figured once it said Paranoia intro, there would be an album. But I was like, oh shit, it's an album? And then one of my friends said, oh, he said it's working on Dying too. I'm like, he said what? It was like that was like a alarm SOS, like sound the bell. First thing I did when I got home was throw the cans on, throw the good headphones on, and press play. And that was on. I don't think I've had a first listen that I've enjoyed since this much, and I think Ben would appreciate this. I was thinking about this. I don't think there's been a first listen of an album that I've liked as much off rip since like probably Frailty or like Up to Me.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
it's been a couple years. It's been since like 2021 since on first listen an album just like made me like obscenely giddy,
Just like smiling
so,
all the way through.
100%, exactly like the
Can't believe
meme,
this
like
is my life.
this is my life. Like
Can't
every
believe.
single track, I'm like, how is this beat so good? Like how is this beat so?
It just
And
keeps getting
there's
better. I was like, what
it
the
made
fuck is
me
going
it
on?
really over the 30 tracks it really takes you through the full gamut of emotions. It's an hour long.
Oh.
Like you go through. I mean, look, not only is it just all filthy, but then you have the stuff where it's like Warpster and Rock on the Track, which of course Ben can attest to this. I for the last, I would say, since the album came out, really like the last like 4 or 5 months, every time I go to the gym, I play Flex music, Osama-san.
Yeah.
Like literally almost every time. It really is Flex music. So like that has lived in the
That's
gym.
crazy.
So like
You get,
having
Osama-san Blade Link just like that simple. Like,
we're one step away. Really.
It's not even like a step. It's like they're right there.
And we need like
so does he produce Fit? Is that who that is?
Yes. He produced a lot of.
I did listen to Osama season 1, so I did like it. Actually, I did like it. It was pretty
Yeah,
good.
that's a.
I'd need to
that's a-
re-listen though, realistically. But yeah.
But
Yeah.
we need like the OK, the producer OK on.
Dude,
Drake
I'm
project.
still waiting
Like,
for Bladee to like really tap into like the niche producers.
yeah,
Like,
we're
well,
like
not, I mean,
one
OK's not
step away.
niche anymore, but like
No,
that
no.
style, like that like group, you know what I'm talking about. Like
No,
if you
but it
could
is.
you imagine
It
playing on like a
was-
Boogeyman beat, like that would be.
It's close. I mean, he's close. That's the thing. Is like what he did with the album, and I know I'm rambling and probably annoying people, so my apologies. But what he did on this was not only go back to a stable of producers that he, along with these producers, has helped cultivate and reshape underground hip hop. No debate. Like, and what he did on this was like this collective regathering, and then he also he had songs like Lucrative was on here, and like there were newer guys who are innovating in newer underground stuff on here, and just in the lyrical content and things of that nature. There's so much of this album that is I mean, it oscillates. You have melancholy stuff, you have depressive stuff, you have aggressively, almost mad stuff, and then you have goofy, like very catchy, very silly things, like when he talks about working on Dying Drainer, buying all these Smurfs on eBay or whatever. Like,
It's a
he-
classic.
Yeah, what the hell did he mean by that?
I think he meant exactly that.
That's.
I like
mean,
what I mean, obviously on that song when he's like, I'm in the.
By the way, I don't know why I thought that. I thought he meant like specifically blue sneakers or blue suits.
I think the only thing I could think of is it's like MDMA and it's like shaped like Smurfs.
Yeah,
That's like
there's a lot of
well, he does
drugs
say I was on
and-
shrooms, needless to say, immediately afterwards. So maybe.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
maybe he
Well,
just.
he
is
also, I mean, the iconic line from that is I'm in this beauty pageant and everybody's laughing.
Everybody's laughing.
Yeah,
That
like
makes
it
me-
just
That line makes me a bit sad, though.
That actually made that. I think that's one of the best bits of writing on the album. I think one of the best
100%.
out the album.
100%.
It's like when you have a bad dream,
Poignant.
or like,
Yeah.
that's feeling.
There's so much of that. There's like him playing different personas, which we've seen for the trajectory of his career. We've seen like there is so much to get into on this, but the one thing that you hear again and again throughout it all, especially in the back half and on the group stuff, like Lucky Luke, like when Thaiboy comes in on Message to Myself, which is fucking beautiful. And
Okay, message to myself. The very first fucking bars of that are actually have given me strength in what's been a very difficult month for me.
That's real.
Let's go.
He was spitting real on that
uplifting, and when Thaiboy hops on there, that is another one where when the first listen, I was like grinning ear to ear. We're so back. Like, this is just like, the countless times that they've done this before. Like, Thaiboy's done this before, and being the Dragon Gang CEO, man, like the inspirational king number one Bladee.
Bladee.
The thing that's so good also is like you hear it on Lucky Luke, you hear it on some of the other songs. I think you hear it just in the music and how exultant the production can be on the more like uplifting stuff. They're saying, and I really believe this, there's a lot of we've been in the game for this long, we're 30 now, we're whatever, and no one does it like us. No one is doing it like us still. Like, DG, we're the best, da-da-da. And when they're saying it, because obviously that's a common thing that is throughout the course of rap history is, saying you're the best, saying no one does it like us. But when they're saying it, not only do I think it's obviously genuine, but I'm just like, yeah, 100%. Like, when they are operating at the level they are operating, and Bladee specifically, operating at the level he's operating at on this album, and Lean with some of his best rapping in I don't know how fucking long. And
Let's just say
maybe ever.
Rapping. Just leave it there.
Yeah, like
he absolutely obliterated these songs.
His feature on Fun Fact is maybe some of the best rapping he's ever done.
That's his best verse in a long, long time, in my opinion. I love that
when
one.
you're listening to it, is like Chris and Ben and we all of us here, we all love the modern like quote unquote underground stuff. There's a lot of it. There's
People
good.
didn't from that, by the way. Chris and Ben and the other person on this podcast.
Well, I was giving you credit too.
The
You're
underground
listening
joke
to.
we're talking about.
It's three names. I mean, come on.
I was giving Pat credit. He's listening to Xavier So Based out here. I
I
understand.
listen to your So Based project,
Hey, I see it. I
which I
don't
like,
miss it.
by the way. So
you like it? Yeah, you like Xavier So Bass. I can't get into him. I tried.
I liked. I mean, I've not listened to it again, but I did enjoy it.
Xavier is great. He's like carrying on the lineage of the skate rappers.
I thought Autumn and Summers were brothers.
I mean,
Well,
it's-
underground
musically, they are.
I mean,
kindred
yeah.
spirits. Yeah, in a way.
In a way.
I like
Um,
the Netspend song that Charles and Phoenix made me listen to. I like that a lot. That one Netspend single.
Which one?
That
Which one did they
rocks.
force him to listen to?
That rocks.
the one, the Evil
I'll have
Gianni
to
one.
look it up. Because I rated it, so I have to look up. Netspend.
Wait, was it Nothing Like You? Was that the one?
I
If
don't-
Pat
you
listened
mean-
to Nothing Like You and liked it, that rocks. We are literally.
It's like
so
a
bad.
minute long, and it has a really good flow switch in the middle.
Oh, that's 40. Yeah, that's the
I
one.
wanna
with-
say-
Yeah,
Oh,
that
yeah.
one's dope. That one's cool actually. I like that one.
I'm gonna check your.
Uh,
That Evil Gianni album was pretty good.
No, it is not 40 because I didn't rate it.
Oh.
Thought I rate, although it has Evil Gianni on it, so maybe it. Oh, fucking no, maybe I didn't rate it, Joe. Okay.
It doesn't look like it is in the ratings based on my looking.
Huh? Maybe I didn't rate
Hey,
it.
the fact that
It was like a
the
minute
the
long.
fact that-
The fact that I think they were probably suggesting me the Evil Gianni one, considering I've liked literally everything I've heard from Evil Gianni. So,
Yeah.
that's fair.
but yeah, I did listen to one Netspend song and like it, so I can say yes, I am supporter of the.
Wow.
Pat's
Netspend
locked
fan.
in. Pat's tapped in.
That's true,
I
Captain.
can't say I've liked any of the Can stuff I've heard.
I know you made him.
you know, there's a lot of.
Not a
Yeah,
fan
Can
of
stuff.
Shed
Played them
Theory.
both. Okay, right?
Not a Shed
Was
Theory
one-
fan. That counts.
Well, yes.
Who is?
Oh, don't worry. Ben and I are gonna have a discussion.
I mean, there are
about
people who are fans of Shed Theory. They also seem to start fight clubs, storm the Capitol.
Okay, here's my thing about Shed Theory, right? Before I knew anything about those guys or the Sam Hyde stuff, whatever.
Yeah.
Before I knew about any of that stuff, I thought Gout was a hard ass track. I was like, this song's dope. Like,
Oh yeah.
great song. I like this, and I liked a couple of Joey songs, and then like a couple months later, I'm like, oh, I guess I guess that was the wrong boat to get on.
That was
I will
literally.
get
I
up.
think that was most of our reactions. I think.
But like,
Yeah.
he is a pretty good rapper. That's the fucked up part. Like, he's pretty good when he tries. It's just
He
that he's
did
weird
the-
as hell.
When he did the DJ Smokey shit like years ago, I was like, well, this is interesting. I don't.
Mhm.
He has a interesting flow, whatever. But then like I found out what he looked like, and I'm like,
Yeah,
it's
like
tough.
I don't want to listen to a guy who looks more like me than he does anybody else. Like, that's fucked up.
Oh God, yeah, no.
But hey, look, this is good that we've actually brought this up because it connects back to my overarching point before I unintentionally slandered Pat. Here's the thing: is when as great as a lot of the new underground stuff is, and it is great, and obviously there's some downsides to it. And Ben and I have a whole discussion coming about what the fuck even is underground these days. What's the state of SoundCloud? We have a lot to get into on that front. When I listen to this album, it is like just like they were doing it. It's like this is as good as they fucking were, and Blade fucking was 5 years ago, 10 years ago,
And maybe
Mhm.
better.
maybe even better. Yeah,
Yeah,
like,
That's the fucked up
how
part.
that's how great it is. It's like he, and we'll get into Can't End on a Loss and the implications of it, but like everything about this is one of my favorite artists ever in my years of listening to music, operating at the peak of his powers. And like, do you know how fucking rare that is to happen these days? Like, it doesn't happen that much for me, at least, I'll say. Like, where one of your all-time favorites, one of my favorite, one of my, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 favorite discographies ever, he comes out with an album that can rival anything he's ever done. It's like, it is unreal how much I played this. Ben alluded to this earlier, like how much he's played it. Non-stop, at least once a day I'll play something from this, and there's so much I could talk about, but I don't want to suck all the oxygen out of the room with my
That's fine, man. I
with my
appreciate
rambling.
your,
But this
thought.
album, it's such an easy 5 stars. Like, what are we talking about? I fucking
Yeah.
this it would stun me if there was something that was my album of the year besides this when December comes around.
I have a lot to say.
Say it.
Go
Let's
for
go.
it. Go for it. I'm clearing out. I'm
Oh,
clearing out.
So Wad Drainer working on Dying Drainer. Who the fuck knows? That song to start. I know Paranoia intro starts, but that's just getting you warmed up. That song to really start is so crazy. It's like I'm back, and like I really never left, and like just every bar on that song is so fucking crazy, man. Like he's just flowing his ass off in just like a bunch of different flows. He does the you shut my wrist. So many good flows. Also, James Ferraro worked on that one, didn't he? Right?
Which
Is that
one?
one he worked on?
I feel like he might have. Oh yes, he
Maybe.
did. Yeah, he did.
He was on that when he
But,
was
like,
on.
I
totally
he's
forgot
all
about
over
that.
it.
Which
He's
is
all
another
over
full
that.
circle moment because Drain Gang is so James Ferraro influenced.
Yeah.
It's just crazy to me that he was involved. Then Young Sherman. I mean, come on.
Oh my god!
That
dude,
was
what
where
if I
the
never
album-
what if I never make it back from this damn panic attack?
That was the song that like kicked it off for me. Because like the first two, I felt like it was like almost like a false start in a way. Because I was like, I like these, but like as soon as like Young Sherman came on, that was where it all clicked. That
He
was like
said, me
where was
and
the-
Young Sherman working out at the gym, working out at getting 10 or whatever.
Like, right at the-
I'm in Miami
flow.
doing Tai Chi. I'm in Forest, the high
that
beast.
flow especially, that one right there was the one that like I was like jaw on the floor. I need to like
when he says like I want to get in a fight, like that's so
keep your pedestal and price. Yeah. GTB sliding in
I
a
mean,
Hellcat, bumping from first to last.
another
Okay. Let's
Yeah.
go. Let's fucking go.
dude. And then when the hook comes back with the piano, it's like the most beautiful thing you've ever heard.
Oh, yeah. Oh my
I think
god.
is that the reason that Young Sherman is like credited as a feature on there? Is he doing like the piano in the end? Is that like why? Because like, why is he's the one? Well, but like he produced a lot of. Like, why is
He
that the
did,
one?
but I suppose
He's
if you were
his
going to make a
feature.
song called Young Sherman,
Well,
I
it's
suppose.
lyrical
to
content
not-
of the song that I think it was sort of just like a. I always thought of it as like a shout out because it's like
yeah,
rehab, we miss you.
it is
And-
funny when it comes on though. Like Young Sherman feat Young Sherman is quite amusing every time, but it's a fucking banger, man. That was immediately one of his iconic songs to me.
Yeah.
Which is so funny considering it's just named after a different person. But it's such a banger, man. And then I'm just gonna pick a few favorites. I could talk about every song, but I'm not gonna do that. 1 second. Shout out Harmony Korine.
Oh
music video.
yes.
I mean,
that video was kind of ass in my opinion, but it doesn't
No.
matter because
bro,
That went crazy.
I love Harmony Korine. Like he is the most
no, I'm
insane man.
I'm not a Korean hater at all. I like but I'm just I wouldn't ass is a strong word. I just wouldn't.
You didn't like it when the little person.
The little person.
You didn't like Leprechauns versus the
ever.
Yakuza?
I had to politically correct myself on the spot there, but yes, when she is twerking, that was that was a choice.
Thing of all time. I have not seen the video, but you're just talking about like a little person twerking in a Drain Gang video directed by
It's
Harmony.
bizarre,
That's
isn't it?
correct. That's correct.
That's
It
exactly
is
what you
very-
would think.
It just made me want to see aggro drift so much. I need to see that
Like
film.
this sounds, yeah.
I was almost gonna see it in theaters.
Trash humpers.
I'm jealous, man.
Trash humpers.
Exactly.
Trash Humpers
It's
music
just like
video.
Trash Humpers.
It
Well,
is.
I mean,
It is a
it's
little bit like
not,
Trash Humpers.
but it is. It's like a slightly softer version of that. But
In
Harmony
terms of
Korine-
the actual song, 1 second is an amazing song.
1 second. Oh my god, yeah.
Okay,
Listen up.
so I mean, I know you're talking about your favorites, but since we're basically going,
That's
in
fine.
we don't have to do it. Flatline sounds like a Carly Rae song done by Drain Gang. It's so
Oh, okay.
That
Well, you're cooking a little bit because
You mean in like an emotion kind of way, like
a
all
little
that?
bit. It reminds me of.
I can hear it.
when he's
Correctly spelling.
his vocal performance is very angelic and almost a little strained as well, which I find to be really interesting, and especially where it's placed where it's placed after this, like, in my
It's
opinion,
placed
like
weirdly, I think.
energetic,
It-
like
I
upbeat.
feel like that's intentional with the content of Young Sherman a little bit, like the sort of shout out to him, Young Sherman in Rehab. That line,
Mm-hmm.
that's what I got out of that. So
I
Well,
can see that.
the
as well.
flatline
That's
is a.
production. Well, James Ferraro. I don't know how much Ferraro contributed to as
I
opposed.
don't-
to,
I
He
know
did.
what
He
he did
did.
all.
We know he did all the sound effects.
The sound effects are
Like
peak
the-
Ferrara. Like they just
like when he
by the
does-
way, that's my one big complaint about this album. So I have not been able to give it the headphone test. It's been in my car. It's been in my car a lot. This is not a good album to have in your car. Fuck you, James Ferraro. I always think the goddamn cops are behind it.
the DOA sirens.
Yeah.
Also, the
These are
cult-
not stylized Dilla Donut sirens. These are actual cops
No.
chasing you sirens.
The cold visions tag scared the fucking shit out of me.
Which
more than
one?
Oh, I don't mind
Cold
cold
visions.
just the fucking sirens that get me.
Was it the
Yeah.
Malibu one? The lady?
Yeah.
Malibu?
Don't wait. On my favorite Ferraro sound effect is when randomly during the song it'll be like Blade.
Oh, that's the
That's
isn't
taken
that from
from
the
the movie,
Blade?
isn't it?
The movie Blade?
Yeah, because
yeah.
Okay, that's fucking hilarious.
it comes in
Okay,
at the,
I recognize that from somewhere. That is fucking funny.
he used it before actually, Blade. He used it in My Magic Is Strong.
Yep. He also did it in
Blade.
The Fool as well. On
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Maybe that's where I thought I.
he dropped whatever the third track was. I'm blanking on it for some reason.
I think
Hotel Breakfast.
Hotel Breakfast. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's because
Blade.
wait,
Love it.
Yeah.
Uh, Flatline reminded me of not the song, but just like the beat. I was like, oh, this is like a Fool beat, like in a way. That's what. But Flatline, back to like from a lyrical perspective, I do think that Patrick is cooking a little bit because I like there's this longing to it, talking about like, you know, rebirth and goodbye until next time, and you know, I wouldn't want to see you cry, rather die. Like I wake up every day and hate. Like there's a very obviously there's a drug parallel there, but there's also it's really like a
I
downfall
think
of a relationship.
I'm seeing it. I think I'm seeing it too because
I can. It really is a downfall of
I
a
never want to
relationship.
see you cry. I'd rather die a flat line. She would say that.
Yeah.
And he's also talking about like his sins like piling up and crushing him, and how he hates that like it's a sunny day because he's getting like cold visions, bad feeling, cold visions, like all that stuff. Yeah.
Which is so funny when in the next second he's like in my bed 1 second. But to be fair, he does say I think the whole point of that song 1 second following that one is that he is only in it for 1 second. Like he does specifically say
I
that
never
I'm back
looked
in the
at that way.
darkness. Well, he says I'm back. He says that I'm back in the darkness. And then in the second verse, I'm like, okay, so he's just momentarily in his back. Everything's about.
Well, when the fucking run from, I mean, well, 1 second obviously like with Filthy and Rock on the production. I mean, that's
and Sad Meal.
We gotta talk about the transitions. The transitions on the fucking album, dude.
That's a huge reason why this album really works. Is these transitions and the 1
the
second
transition
Sad Meal
into
one.
Sad Meal, which obviously at
crazy.
McDonald's get the Sad Meal, which there's an actual I saw an actual thing that was like, I'm gonna look it up right now, like McDonald's like creates a sad meal.
They did.
Oh, they
did the hats, right?
Knot burger. He got a Travis fucking knot burger. He got a
Travis.
But they really did make a sad meal.
They did. I saw a tweet about it the other day. I think this song has my favorite lyrics on the whole thing. Like some of these lyrics in this. Oh my god, they're so fucking. But
What do you say?
I'm just read an excerpt. Heavy rain falling forever on an everlasting flame. Love the reference. Heavy two-handed axe in a dirty duffel bag.
Love
Heavy
that
hammers
line.
in the right hand. They can turn castles into sand. In the rain world, money systems seeing how to scam the scam. On the stage going crazy, we're the new ex-Japan. Like, yeah.
I love
Nothing
those
more.
lyrics.
reference, and also Castles in the Sand. You get that reference a lot. That there's several Castles in the Sand references on this album.
Yeah, that's the
Repeatedly.
second one over.
I like what he says.
Also, yeah, the one of my I'm glad you guys first the lyrics that I brought up our favorite site, Genius. That has me leave you stranded out and canceled. Have you asking for an Advil? Have you signed up for a bad deal? I love the way he flows that. First of all, I think there's a great dry humor to that.
Oh, totally.
Like, yeah, like he's
a funny guy, Blade.
No,
like,
he's like yeah,
he's a funny ass guy on purpose. I think.
Like I talked about this about like Keith's performance on Almighty So too. I feel like there's a bit like the Gucci influence to like the dry absurdist humor to his delivery. Like
totally.
And I think that he's in top form here. He's in his best. You get this on I Don't Like People too later on.
I love that
brand new face. Shout out My Doctor.
I didn't catch that one. That's fire.
That's a good one.
Yeah,
but it's all just like I mean, you have all this like absurd humor, like in contrast to some really, really heavy shit. Like like, always. So
also when Lean says on 1 second, when Lean says is it Lean that says it? There's a line about like I've scanned so many. What is it? Hang on, let me get the lyric up.
Oh, we've got a genius.
Oh yeah, he says
here, yeah.
What fucking song is it where he's like the barcode line?
Hits. Made so many hits.
Hits on my own barcode. That took me a minute. I felt so dumb.
I
felt so dumb when I realized what it was.
Like, oh my fucking god, that's crazy. And then I pictured him like in like a ball cap.
Well, that's on Fun Fact, which
there we go. Yeah,
I think. Yeah. So many hits have my own barcode, which by the way is one of the best lines in the whole album.
Yuppie on the yacht, hair gel on my polo. That just makes him like such a dickhead.
I love the way he ends it too, when he's like, sad boys in D9, this for the fam, and I'm like, yes, it's for us.
There's also multiple references to like Gravity Boys and Shield Gang on this tape too. Which
it's loaded. Fun fact, that's a lot.
I love when they throw it back.
It's the return of the Batman and Bane in his mask.
I love all these boys, baby stealing swag, put them in the trash. He's just the flow on that one is so great.
He's like, put them in the trash. It's so funny.
I know you want to beat us, but we are just some weirdos.
Some weirdos. Two old heroes stuck up in this folklore. Amazing.
And that whole verse is top tier.
I really think that might be my favorite Young Lean rapping verse like ever.
I don't think he's ever rapped that well. Yeah, I think that's his best.
Gotham City.
He floats on that. I don't know. I mean,
Gotham City. He's floating. Is he rapping though?
I guess like lyrically, but like
this is really like, I mean, his features on here, Lean's features are all like rap features.
Okay,
like he's not doing
and Red Velvet. Those are the two.
Lordship.
Red Velvet. Is Red Velvet World War III got the Twin Towers buzzing?
Yes.
So
yes.
Those two songs are the only two I would probably put over.
Well, it's funny because I think his verses on here are in the vein of Lordship, so that's a good. Yeah, that's a good way.
On Lordship, I think he sounds a little sloppy though. Like he whips some words out a little bit, but on
he does like the Sonic Centipede, Demi and everything.
Yeah, something and everything.
I love that.
I love that verse.
You know what I also like? This is like he says on like working on Dying 2. I'm not lying, it's true. Like it is kind of working on Dying 2, but also like as you said at the start, like this covers so much. It's kind of both working on Dying 2 and like the sequel to so many other projects too. So it's kind of incredible.
Yeah, it's like working on Dying 2.
As long as working on Dying, which is insane.
It's like it's like it has like an Ice Dancer feel here and there. It has I think it has like a it has like a full kind of flow here and there.
Lucy tracks are for sure.
And really what it is in the Blade projects that were more rap focused in the mid to late 2010s. This is like an updated version of that, and like I alluded to, he's not just reuniting with some of the most like, innovative and influential producers, in underground hip hop from years and years now. That's where you get the filthy stuff, like, some of the Tread stuff. But this new age, rage and post-rage sound that we've been iterating on in the underground. So well. Rage 2.0, Rage 3.0, whatever the fuck you want to call it at this point. he, like you just said, Chrissy, he wades into this pool and just absorbs all of it and makes some of the best music in that sound. It's fucking believable.
It is insane. I want to talk about Only God Is Made Perfect.
Dream
because that song is so fucking it's so good, so funny.
It's funny.
You're watching YouTube shorts.
That's an all-timer line.
I will.
What do you say? I used to be intellectual or whatever.
Oh yes,
I'm fried doing.
Rituals.
Oh, and then he says, "When you think you're high, then you're on the wrong fly," which is one of my favorite vocal bits on the whole.
I'm Mr. Worldwide.
Oh, yeah,
Mr.
I was like,
Worldwide.
did he just say he's Pitbull? Like,
Yeah,
is
he
that
did.
like a flex on being Pitbull?
And then he said, even better, all these clowns, man, I truly am the Joker. Was there any
Oh.
irony there? I hope not, quite frankly. There shouldn't be any irony there. And this Diesel.
He's the only person that can get away with calling himself the Joker.
I mean, he is dressed. He does have like he does have a clown thing going on in that music video, doesn't he? So
I mean, he already called him fool. He's just making another reference to being the Joker card, right? Like
cool joke, yeah. It's all.
And then that song straight into "Don't Want to Hang Out." Like that is an insane run. DJ Ken.
Well,
the DJ Ken shout out. Yeah.
Look, instead of telling people that they can't listen to podcasts, I'm just gonna say if you're not in podcast gang, I don't want to hang out. Like I just if you're not LGBT, I don't want to hang out.
Talk to the hand.
Seriously.
But yeah.
Seriously.
So on about people I don't even know. So on about people I don't even like.
The vocals are like so clenched. He's like talking with his teeth. It's so weird.
He's actually annoyed on the song.
He's truly the modern man in that regard.
Yeah, like he's cops come I saw nothing.
After this track.
The genius anecdote on this is so funny. Cops come.
I have not read any of the genius annotations because I don't.
Blade does. Yeah, but this one's good though.
If I'm yelling at genius annotations. Oh,
Blade does
coalitions.
Blade does not cooperate with the pigs, is what someone wrote.
The cops come.
Well, he does. I do like the fact that he does have the goofy moments where he's like, "Fuck being depressed, asbestos." I do appreciate.
What does that mean? I actually don't know what that means.
I think that's just literally a reference to Nicki Minaj on Bedrock.
That would be hilarious.
Oh.
I don't actually. That would be hilarious.
Maybe. Yeah.
I mean, I think it's.
I do like
Bedrock.
I do like. It is hilarious that he makes a Fulcrum reference.
Wait, what?
He says real spill, like it's hard to it hurts my skin like real spill or whatever. I'm pretty sure that's like a Fulcrum reference.
I thought
shout out to
what's that, sorry?
That's even funnier if that's like a double.
Well, shout out to Fulcrum who hasn't been who was funny for about like 6 months, but after that, no.
Sorry,
but,
who is that? Sorry, I don't know.
Oh, it's a guy. It was like some YouTuber who got like, not famous is a very strong word. He got like some internet notoriety for being like a goofy like guy. He would like go in like these random stores or whatever and just generally be silly and
he would smoke up he would like light up a blunt or something like
and just get like extraordinarily high.
His whole thing was like getting faded in like public places.
He wasn't annoying until then. There was a threshold where then he became annoying. But it was like it was kind of like uplifting and at first because he would like just get super high and then say uplifting things to like his viewers or whatever and be like giving positivity. But then he just like then he became like just like
it almost felt like a Thaiboy like live stream, like when Thaiboy sometimes goes live and he talks about like.
Right. But then he got
all weird,
and then he was like a COVID denier. So it's the whole thing. But anyway, even if it's just God's will, I can't chill. Is a great line.
Man, I can't chill. I fucking.
Also, all the little like fan servicey moments, like red light moments, we're going, still go.
I'ma make you hurt, Blade. Say make you bleed.
Make you bleed.
So many good ones, man. So many good ones.
And the Gucci store, lean by.
It's like breathing. It's like breathing air.
That was a crazy reference. Love that one.
Approach you with respect if you talk to me nicely. Holy shit. be nice to me. Holy shit. Holy
Most
fucking
insane
shit.
reference of all time.
That's
I
crazy.
don't like
man.
people.
That's the song. That's the famous song.
But when he, but I'll tell you this. So this weekend, I'm going to a family function with some step family people. Not my immediate family, but like step family people that I don't interact with that much. And I don't like people. Why I gotta talk to you for? Let's say that'll be
I don't leave
in
the
my
crib.
head.
I don't leave the house. Stay in my crib like a newborn. Am I right?
Stay in my crib like a newborn.
A helpless little
Yes.
baby.
Yes. So
That's wild, man.
I'll just leave it at that. For
Oh yeah. Like you really don't like people. I really don't like people.
we've all been there. We've all been.
Oh,
there.
totally, man. Totally. And then on the next song, End of the Road Boys, he's just talking about like all sorts of shit, man. He's going through it on that song. He says he's actually paranoid, like a Ferris wheel and shit.
What does he say? What does he say? Like, read between the lines. On the second
he says, man, to get where we're at, you got to read between the lines. It gets evil on this road. You got to keep on being kind. Yeah, it's
the sound effects. The sound effects on that one are definitely like, be careful of your headphone volume. Like,
oh, totally.
Yeah, this is like the first clear appearance of like Ferraro for me. This is like where it becomes obvious that like his work really is like his.
It's just like someone roaring on the track.
I'm like, yep, that makes sense.
What do we think about the song DOA then with Skrillex? We mentioned it briefly earlier because that one for me was so fun.
I love that one. Yeah.
The end bit.
It's very playful.
You can get real sturdy to it at the end. Like that shit is crazy. And Thaiboy going, somebody call the ambulance, man.
Love the good Thaiboy intros. Always makes it better. Always makes it better. Yeah, it's definitely the poppiest song. It's super infectious.
And then he's like cold visions.
He says Freddy Krueger chase your dreams as well. Like that is technically what was happening, yeah.
Oh, the Ice Carrots Bugs Bunny.
Not nearly
Oh my
as
God,
positive as he made it. Like, yeah, Freddy Krueger chasing dreams is not what you want. It's not an
it's terrifying.
No, that was like a red light lyric. Like that felt like a red light.
Mm-hmm.
Totally, yeah.
Well, I feel like you guys talk about the fan service and all the references, and I feel like that's one of the great things about it. Like, I didn't even pick up on a third, I'm sure, what you guys are picking up on. This, like, envelops every era of his career, every album, like, from front to back, but it doesn't feel like a stale retread. It doesn't even feel like fan service. It is, but it isn't. Like, that's how
it feels more like retrospective.
Yeah, it's a retrospective, but again, it doesn't feel like that he's playing the hits.
Yeah.
It feels like it's all there, but it's presented in a fresh, modern context.
Totally. But I mean, at the risk of talking about literally every song,
I feel like it's
which we could do at this point.
Don't do drugs.
Yeah.
Don't do drugs is a very emotional.
That's an important
serious.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a very serious song.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he's very impassioned on that. You can tell, and
I feel
obviously,
like this album is him like kind of deconstruct, like, he plays with the Drain Gang image, the depression, the cliches about them, but he also addresses real issues about his life, like his depression, his drug use, how it's hurt people around him, and he addresses it directly.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
he's very upfront about it, just talking. Like, I told my bro, you gotta stop, and he told me, but for what? Man, I don't know. Like, it's just, he's just speaking from the heart. He doesn't have to like sugarcoat with like metaphors. I don't know. He's just kind of talking. I love that.
One of the things that I feel like, I don't know, and I'm guilty of this, like way back in the past, and I think I talked about this on the first String Gang episodes, is the idea that they're ironic or they were kind of taking the piss out of rap or culture vultures or whatever. And I think ultimately, at the end of the day, they're refreshingly unpretentious.
Oh yeah,
totally agree.
I think some people might think they're like trying to be pretentious in some ways. Like they might think that they're going for some avant-garde bullshit or whatever. But like, I just think they're just really artistic people, and like I think the genuineness of that song and a lot of songs on here, especially the two outros, which we, as you said, we will eventually get to. Like he really is he's got his heart on his sleeve here, like properly properly
Mhm.
hot on his sleeve. Not like obviously
there's such a earnestness to it.
yeah, it's totally I mean, yeah, on Ever Since he was talking about his feelings, of course, but there was definitely a theatrical nature to that album where he was hamming it up. Let's face it,
Yeah,
like
no,
very
for sure.
dramatic. Whereas here, like, it's either like incredibly candid, real emotions, or the funniest shit you've ever heard in your life, and I think that's a brilliant combination. And the next song, right, starts with him quoting the Smiths, and then he says, "All these SoundCloud rappers scared of me. I'm the hitman I kill for free," which is a really funny thing to say. And then the song ends with him saying, "I killed myself so many times," because that's
Yeah.
real shit as well, kind of. But also he knows it's fun. I don't know. It's very.
It's a very self-aware album, but not annoyingly so.
I'd say so. And like just all the little instrumental interludes and the little spoken word bits, so good. Especially
Okay,
Message to Myself.
one thing I want to address with everybody, because I feel like this is the criticism it gets if you go through all the reviews, which by the way, don't waste your life.
Oh, so they're so bad.
Is the one thing I kept seeing, skimming them at least, is it's too long, it's too much, it's too long, it's too much. I thought this breezed by, and I'm casual, you guys, but like I think that they were doing a lot, like especially in my homework for this podcast recently, a lot of these compact projects like Crest, Psykos, especially Psykos, very compact. This is twice the length of those, but it's still like, and we talked about this in the Almighty So 2 podcast too, is that like these are not, I mean, maybe I'm old again, like look at like the double albums of the 90s and even the streaming dumps now, 2 hours long. This is not a long album.
No,
I like
30 songs, an hour is reasonable. Like very reasonable.
So there's like plenty of like 90-second songs on here.
There's interludes throughout this. I mean, it's like you can't criticize exactly. It flows in a way where like you could like what would be like better if they like combined the tracks into like make like a 15-song album, but like
see, I don't like that. Yeah.
I don't like it either. But like
I like my skits to be separate.
I do too, but I think it's odd that like we're really complaining about like a 60-minute album. Like
totally, yeah. Like the people who like some of the reviews for this are like people who just have no context. To be fair, maybe this is because of what we've been saying. Maybe this album is for the fans. Maybe this is for like diehard Blade fans who've been waiting on this shit. That's what it feels like. Maybe this is a hard one to get into as your first one. It would make sense because it is very odd. It's very
I could see, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Like I feel like listening to a song like I don't even know. Well,
Young Sherman probably doesn't hit for you the same if you
don't know who Young Sherman is. Like
the context.
You're like, why do I care about this guy? About him doing Tai Chi with this guy? Like, why do I care about that?
Yeah,
like, right. But we do because we fucking love it. Oh, another reference thing. The Profound Sadness tag literally meant like I could. I don't know what
Profound
I it's insane.
Sadness.
Profound Sadness. I don't remember what song.
What he has always done so well. Just on a macro level, is what you guys were just talking about a few seconds ago, which is the free associative quality to his lyrics and songwriting. I don't think it's been as sharp in a very long time in terms of this way. That free association, like he is just in a songwriting pocket on this that is frankly remarkable. Like how is every hook amazing? Like how is every song he knows the right length. None of the songs are over long, but none of them are too short. There are so many, and then just how he's able to lock in to different pockets, how all of the features, I mean, even though they are close, people that have done plenty of work with him before, if it goes out saying, they're all, there is such a synergy on this album that everyone is the top of their game, no matter if you're a producer, Blade, any of the lean features, Thaiboy, like, obviously, we haven't even talked about Other Side yet, but, like, there is such a synergy and a connectedness that everyone is so locked in on putting this album. And that goes back into the way when I talked about earlier how I was referencing on some of these songs, like on Lucky Luke, for example, where they're just, it's this triumphant, sunlight on the horizons, no one does it like us, positivity. And they're fucking right. Like, I'm sorry, when Other Side comes on, first of all, amazing transition into the song. But when it comes on, and it's him and Cray, and then Cray slides in perfectly and takes over, and then his verse is the verse that takes the song out. Like,
yeah,
those two guys are like the fucking handshake emoji on a track. Like, and
legit.
those two guys have been at the top of, the quote-unquote underground, whatever the fuck you want to call it, for over a decade now. No one does it like those two, whether it's individually and especially on tracks together. No one does it.
Are fucking incredible. Like every single Friday Night, Blue.
Oh my gosh, those are like top 10 songs for me as well.
Backstreet Boys,
Backstreet Boys is obviously incredible.
Just incredible, man. This one though is really competing for the top spot because that beat is like who did that? Is that
amazing?
Filthy?
It's Filthy.
It had to be Filthy.
And Lucrative.
Yeah.
Filthy
God.
is Filthy.
That
really
intro sounds like a fucking. Sounds like a. I don't even know what that the first bit of the beat legitimately sounds like a guitar exploding or something.
I will say I am seeing him on the tour for this show. And let me tell you, that one's gonna go crazy.
Yeah,
he isn't doing UK for that tour. Yeah, it's annoying.
He should come back for a European tour.
So. He did do the Psykos one though. Recently, so that could be why. But
that makes sense.
To be honest with you, when he was touring Psykos, I was like, yeah, it's fine.
The full band sort of thing was interesting. I didn't actually hear any of the clips, but like he was like touring with like a full band. So that
I didn't know that, to be fair.
Weren't those like big venues he was at? Like, I feel like in the States he's going to be at not the venues aren't going to be small, but like at the one I'm going to, for example, it's not like a massive.
Is it Irving Plaza?
No, it's this venue in Brooklyn. I have to look up what it is.
Plaza still open? I just realized maybe not.
That's a phenomenon. No, it is still open, I think.
I guess that would be a question for Ray Word because he's the one who sees a show literally.
He is.
He does see a show literally every night.
Every night. This guy's absurd. Yeah.
I'm jealous. That's crazy.
I'm gonna see him in the Salt Shed. That's gonna be insane.
Happy. Like he always has a complaint.
You would
random Ray Word slander on the podcast.
It's completely out of jealousy. This is not out of love. It's out of jealousy. I see like a show every 2 years. And it's like this motherfucker. Yeah, I just saw Fish 2 nights at Madison Square Garden. It cost me $30 because I scammed somebody on Reddit.
He's always like, I left halfway through.
They were boring.
It was alright.
You would have liked it.
What I will say to continue the show theme, King Nothing is gonna go absolutely fucking stupid at a
King Nothing is one of those like just hard ass fucking songs, man.
It's like just 2.5 minutes of the most hype maybe Blade has ever made a song.
Oh, easily.
Like Filthy, Rock, Warpster, like the James Ferraro fucking deranged sound effects.
Ferraro elevates this like crazy.
The way the thing comes on with like that elongated yell, and then he's just like rapping, like growling, rapping. Like I love when he's like, when I get on the track, I'm trauma dumping. I love that.
Oh, that's such a funny line.
That's like one of the top 5 lines on the album for
sure. No question.
And he's going back to cussing, which I'm glad about.
What did he say? He said I'm disliked in every country.
Apparently, he says I want Halo kind of shields, which I didn't catch before. But yeah, that's cool. I guess they like regenerate then. In that case, he wants to bounce back. That's what the Genius annotation says.
Yeah.
But I trust them. I trust them on that one. But yeah,
I do like the fact that he is like even in the.
It would be a Christian reference though, like he wants to be like an angel.
Oh, maybe.
Well, he does reference Hotel Breakfast because doesn't he say like only king that kills for nothing? But Hotel Breakfast, he says like king nothing.
I am nothing.
Holy
yeah. Shit. Yeah,
Well, I mean,
Hail King Nothing.
Metallica song.
King Nothing.
King Nothing, the
could,
Metallica song.
it
Wait.
could very well be.
No, I think you're right, Pat. I think that is a Metallica song.
With your
I,
crown came nothing. I'm pretty sure.
That's actually pretty good.
That sounded
It's got
just
me
like James Hetfield, man. It really did.
That's
got me
actually
doing
pretty
the
good.
Blade on the Blade episode, but I'm pretty sure King Nothing is a Metallica song.
I can't. You know, I can't do Metallica.
I don't blame you, but I don't recommend it. Bad habit. But,
I don't know. Like every time I listen to a song, I'm just like, wow, people really. This was really the best they had in the 80s for metal. That's wild.
And that was their peak too. Like that was all downhill.
Yeah. I've heard like Enter Sandman's fine and all. But,
King Nothing is a song by American heavy metal band Metallica from their 1996 aptly named band album Load. I added some editorial there.
Is that the one where the cover is with the cum? Yeah, that's what.
Yup, I'm looking at it right now.
Yep.
That is certainly.
Is it common blood or common piss? I can't remember.
By the way, I would like to shout out Nas. I think Patrick, you'd appreciate this. Shout out Andrew Nazinski of Cocaine Blunts. He tweeted something about how the album has 9 Inch Nails vibes, which I find very interesting.
Yeah, I can for sure. Yeah, I can hear that.
Yeah,
I think I get it. Yeah.
In a way, yeah, it's kind of like metallic in a way. It's got that sort of like, I don't know if I'd call it industrial, but it's got that sort of.
Really the energy of it and the I found to be an interesting.
I mean, well, there are one of the things I really like about the album, though, is, I mean, this is a shout out to the transitions, though, is like there's a hard juxtaposition between moods, between what's like the rapping stuff and the more melodic stuff, the aggression, and it feels like you're really in the mind of a person who's going through it.
Yeah, I found that like really like prominent on like the King Nothing to Bad for Business like transition. It's just like after like Terrible Excellence, Red Cross, Lucky Luke, it's like all these songs are like all about like it's like hype, you're at the top, you're almost at like a sort of like manic state, like everything's going crazy around you, and then he kind of like cools it back down in like Bad for Business and just like lets it all kind of like drop off again.
I like how there's like a
one lyrical trope this does share with Almighty So Too is repeatedly saying that they don't the primary artist does not sleep but like to sleep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a very common Blade sort of thing. I think that's what Eat the Night means, if I'm not mistaken, but I could be wrong.
Eat the Night feel like Kirby, right? Yeah, of course. Yeah,
he just says "Eat the Night" a lot, and I feel like that's a metaphor of some way.
By the way, sick Kirby reference.
Yeah.
He says it on No Life Left as well. That's a good point. Yeah, he says it on quite a few tracks. Also, quick side note: someone mentioned Gucci Mane earlier. On Normal, right? There is a Gucci Mane song called Normal, isn't
one of my favorite.
That's a classic.
And when the song Normal came on and he said, "I'm normal, I'm in the club dressed formal," that really reminded me of that for some reason. I don't know why.
Would not be surprised if it was sort of a direct.
From the name, it's not that similar, but like I just got that and I was like, that's fucking cool. I don't know. I like that song. Hard to follow.
Like, we're the new normal, like call me abnormal or something. Like there's another line. I forget. I don't have Genius up right now. But
I do because I was gonna say because the next song has like all my favorite lines on it. Flexing and Finessing is my favorite song.
Oh man,
but
he's spitting nonstop. Yeah,
like he's spitting absolute. Like it's some of it's nonsense, some of it's fucking incredible, but it's all very entertaining. Like I'm violently drug abusing weed.
I love that one.
That's one thing.
It's so stupid, but it's so good.
Hanging with peasants (brackets NPCs) gets depressing. And then he says, "Pink Floyd, the Diamond is a prison." That's just hard as shit. Bust down the cross, but I'm not Christian, so
that's
known there. But
that
I
was
don't
from
buy
the Fool, right? I'm not Christian, but I'm busting down the cross.
That's right. I'm being rude like a Parisian.
Love that line.
That's hilarious.
That's a great one.
I'm him, and then finally, I'm him to Jewish you my gender, which I don't care what anyone says. That's a fucking amazing bar. I love that. I don't care. That's great.
I love that one.
That's like the best example of just the absurd humor, the deadpan. This dude knows exactly what he's doing. He's so clever. It's just hilarious.
Because
nonstop.
When Your Old Droog did that on that song Pronouns, don't know if you remember that one. It just came out.
Yeah, I remember that because that was
No, that's right. I forgot.
But just by Madlib, right? And I thought, oh, this is gonna be cringe as shit. Wasn't that cringe, to be fair?
it was just
but he
lame.
says
It was just like he did the thing you thought he was gonna do, and it wasn't as bad. It was like,
it
well,
wasn't as bad. But yeah, he does the
Okay,
I'm him thing.
yeah, no
But
matter
here
what you
it's
say.
so much funnier.
Okay, well, that was the joke we thought you were gonna make, and
Yep.
you actually didn't make a transphobic joke. Slow clap.
Well done. The bare minimum for Your Old Droog. He might be a
Yeah, you did not use an outdated slur from the 1930s on this one. Congratulations.
Yeah. That guy's
I'm still gonna look forward to his fucking album, even though I mean it'll probably be pretty decent.
I mean, most of his albums are decent.
He just drops like consistently good albums, but I don't feel like they're anything.
He drops good albums. He drops good projects, and most of them were EPs lately. With like one song where it's just like this dude's fucking amazing when he wants to be, and he doesn't want to be.
Oh, what's that one he
He
has with Black Thought and God Fahim and shit? What's that one called? That one is so.
Prada,
good.
are you talking about Prada?
Yeah. Who else is
It's
on
got
that one?
LP on it.
LLP. Oh my
And it's
god.
like
Oh,
Saudi Bowl beat, or it's like a weird ass beat by like maybe Wino Willie or somebody. I forget, but it's like a super janky ass beat. That's so good.
Keeping it real. If the God Fahim was not on that song, I would like it a lot more. I'm on the God Fahim hate train.
We're not doing that. I mean, I fully understand if you. I mean, check it. If I
He's
fully
so
understand,
bad,
if you want
though.
to fucking like
Why does he sound like that? Why does he do that voice?
because he doesn't know how not to.
Because like there's so many good rappers in that genre of music. Like I mean, brief aside, the new Mac Homie is obviously fucking incredible.
Yeah, I
Unreal.
like to do an emergency episode on that. Except I don't want to deal with the comments. I don't want to deal with anything.
totally understand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Understandable.
But like God Fahim is just ass, man. I'm sorry.
Okay. Let's not go too. He's not at. He's got
Damn. We almost
I've
made
never
the
heard a
episode.
project where I was like, yeah, God Fahim is this is necessary.
Well, how about we check it and talk about Can't End on a Loss instead?
Let's
That
not end all loss about our opinions on the God Fahim.
although just before that, I want to say that Puppet Master 2 is also very good.
That's a super underrated track.
I wasn't aware that it was Puppet Master 2 until someone said that, and then I was like, oh yeah.
I feel like that's the closest to like his vocals being like when they talk about like Old Blade. Like that to me sounds very much. It's that and like I think maybe like Flatline as well. I feel like the vocals feel very like it's that low register that he hits. That's really nice, very soothing. So that's like that was a highlight for me as well.
And then yeah, obviously we have False is great. He calls himself a reptilian a lot on this album as well.
He does say like reptile a lot.
Yeah. I wonder if it's like a billionaires are reptiles thing, or if he's just
Yeah, I wondered it. Yeah, I kind of thought is he David Iking? Is he like trying to do some of that shit, or I don't know.
I'm not sure. But then
But
the two outro.
and humor. I didn't know if he was really, or if I don't know.
I mean, some people were upset about the "Did you assume my gender?" bar. So I mean, you know, some
There's
people
like nothing
were
to be upset about though. Like I get it, but like it's just like
he's 30 years old.
it's not
Like,
even like there's anything that like to get upset about. It's just like
Exactly.
a reference to pronouns or like gender.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing to get upset over. So I don't
Yeah.
get it.
Yeah, you're picking a fight at that point. I don't see a controversy there.
As if him and Echo aren't like getting real sweaty in the gay club in the music videos and stuff. Like, I mean, come on, like he's not like some fucking I don't even know, but anyway. So do we think he's retiring or not?
No.
No,
Straight up.
rappers don't retire. Rappers
No.
don't retire.
Has any rapper ever actually retired?
Well, that's
Joe
actually-
Budden? Is that the
I
only
mean,
one?
Andre 3000, sort of.
Okay, this
But
is a
no,
great transition
but
to
only
us
from
inviting you
rapping.
on my next concept episode, which I've kicked around for a while, is rapper retirements, which Call Out Culture did as a concept episode before already and beat us to it. But yeah, one of my several ideas for a concept episode has been rapper retirements. How many
Mhm.
fables have there been, and has anyone kept to it? And I guess
the most
Andre
famous one is
is
Wayne, right?
Andre's the closest, I think.
What does
Mhm.
Joe Budden have to say about this? Is he retired still?
I mean, not from talking.
Yeah, but like Andre's not retired from like music, so I guess
No,
not.
but from
No,
rapping.
because he did
Yeah.
no, he did a verse on scientists and engineers, I guess. That was-
Fucking Killer Mike ruins everything these days.
oh my god, trust me.
The
man.
album, the Grammy
That
album.
album sucked. The Killer Mike album sucked.
I mean,
Wait,
he
which
has
one?
a Grammy though, so you don't have
Michael.
a Grammy. You don't have a
Yeah,
Grammy.
but he got
Where's
like
your
fake
Grammy?
arrested. It was fake, right? It wasn't real. Was it real? Did he really get arrested? I don't know.
You know
I
what?
think it was a real
Yeah.
arrest, but then he was.
Why?
Maybe his dad's friends arrested him as like a show on the
Very
show.
good. Oh, very good. I forgot his dad was a cop. Yeah, his politics. Anyway, we're getting off topic, but yeah,
This
Android 2000,
episode, an off-topic divert. Yeah,
Killer Mike should retire.
that is true. Yeah, we could do a
Retire.
companion episode about rappers who should retire.
That's a good idea.
Yes. My favorite Killer Mike thing is the hook on Palm Olive.
That's
my
it. I
favorite thing
mean,
is
I mean,
Incredibly good decision to
I
not let
mean,
him
you're
rap on that
definitely
song.
right.
Like I was so scared he was gonna come in after Push on that song, and then I was like, oh my fucking god! Thank Christ they relegated him to the hook. So smart, so smart.
He was going to do a verse on that, but he had to go to Club Random and do a chill session with Bill Maher. So,
but anyway, yeah. Blade not retiring, but this song, it's just real as shit, isn't it? Can't end in a loss. It's just.
I mean, when he goes into the thing where he talks about like I was 8, I remember being 18 and thinking I was so fucked up, and now I still like so fucked up.
Yeah.
Like when he talks about checking the comments and every time I check the comments, like I'm thinking, do they even deserve me? I'm just like you. Like I'm still learning, but at least we can keep the fire burning. Like, man, that is some fucking real shit.
yeah, I think ultimately that's what I take away from this album. It's a journey the whole way through. Like I said, you're in somebody's head who's going through it, but at the end, he tries to land the plane in a positive place.
Yeah, I mean, he says thank you for everything. Like, thank you for hearing me out. You know what's going on with us. Like, thank you, essentially. And that's, I mean, with all like the ad libs in the background, like thank you all, like all that stuff. Like, man, it's just hard not to be emotional when you've been. I mean, fuck it, I consider myself a sort of long time listener. What would even Chris be like? Even you've been there since really, like damn near the beginning. So it's like,
It's
how do you react to like a song like this?
I mean, for me, I was just like, I did have that moment where I was like, oh fucking hell, is he saying what I think he's saying on the song? But then I thought about that and I was like, well, even if he is saying that, like, no one ever, as we just said, no one ever truly stops making music. Drain Gang is an existing thing that's always going to exist. So it's not like he could just grandly, just concretely say, I'm stopping making music. But I suppose it's less about that and more about like just him. Not very few artists really take the time to acknowledge that, almost breaking like the musical fourth wall a bit, like really just saying like, I actually do pay attention to you guys. And we all know that a lot of Drain Gang fans are very strange. Like, I hope he doesn't read the Reddit. I'll just say that, because if he does,
I mean, I feel like these days, I think the fan base has gotten better.
yes.
I think attitudes in general toward them over the last like 4-5 years or so have just generally been a lot better than they used to be.
Yeah, I mean the meme of his old fans being incels like isn't like a total lie. Like honestly, I think they kind of were like. Because
it's music made for weirdos. Like, let's be honest. Yeah. Like, this is not like your average like Joe just walking down the street. This isn't what he's listening. This is for like people, and he's describing like himself in the same way. It's like being sort of like a shut-in, being like little bit like anxiety driven. So I mean, it makes sense that this is not just like.
I mean, he's literally rapping about his panic attacks, and there's Young Lean saying, "You can't be like us. We're some fucking weirdos," and he's saying it like a flex. Good that this isn't for normal people. And we just did a 3-hour podcast talking about how we love all these fucking albums. So, and who are you to? How many people listen to that? So, wheels within wheels, right?
Exactly.
I think so. Yeah.
We really are. We really are 4 old heroes stuck up in this folklore.
Hey.
So true.
I think that's
So
as good of a place to end it off as we'll have. But
We got to talk about the ending.
we do though. We do.
I mean, the ending is beautiful too, and Echo is credited for.
Yeah, he didn't have a real feature on here, bitch.
Yeah, I did want a feature. It would have tied it together, but,
Especially after the TLDR feature that came,
man,
or the verse that came out.
Are we?
Honestly, part of me still is holding out hope. But it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
I mean, I do like when they kind of are harmonizing, and then he's like, God is my love, Like that's
like he is religious. Like
Yeah.
like he definitively is interested.
Definitely
in
a spirituality.
Exactly. Yeah.
And there's a lot of like 333 as well on
This
here.
song
all
is
the
that
angel
length,
numbers.
right? It's 3 minutes 33, I think.
Yeah, like he.
Yes, it is.
Yeah,
So,
he. It ends with like the.
very intentional.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like where at what point. I mean, I said in the previous episodes that he, it was on the 333 album where he really got interested in that stuff. So I suppose for him to carry over that interest to different kinds of music, like returning to working on dying style hard stuff, adding in some UK garage Skrillexy stuff here, adding in some Ice Dancer flavor, and encapsulating it all with his personal journey is a really interesting concept for the album. But it works so much better than you would think. Like this album should be a jumbled mess, but because of all the things we said that are great, like the amazing beats, some underground, some less underground, but all very talented and dedicated producers, and the James Ferraro stuff. Just all the references, like it just like I mean your review part where you say that it's the platonic ideal, like I couldn't agree more. Like I think this is exactly what you want. Exactly what I want out of Bladee album. I had no notes at the end of this, none.
Yeah. I think one of the interesting things I saw is when you talk about references, you look at the lyric, "All this snow, so cold, so cold." I immediately thought back to Oxygen.
Oh, to Oxygen, of course.
His first song that he dropped under the name Blade.
Yeah.
So to me, that looks
song.
like a full circle type moment right there.
Man. He has acknowledged Oxygen in Remote Utopia.
He did when he did the performance.
Exactly. So
yeah.
I think he must think back to that stuff a lot, and not to psychoanalyze that too much, but he clearly does, have an interest in his older stuff.
But he didn't for a while, I remember. No. Wasn't like he said he couldn't even listen to like tracks off of Glue, right? Like he was like so embarrassed. I was like, that's crazy, because like that to me, that's his like peak. But like to have him come back,
holds up.
Yeah, to have him come back and like clearly reference old material, that's like new territory for him. Because like 100%. I feel like
well, there's been a lot of looking back at their collective legacy on this. I think there's a lot of that, and rightfully so.
Mm-hmm.
And at this point, I think most people who have any semblance of interest in modern underground hip hop have listened to DG and at least appreciated it, if not, outright liked certain amounts of their material, varying degrees depending on if you're a super fan like us or not. But I think that no matter when you got into them, it would be pretty impossible not to at least appreciate some of what they've got going on. And this album has just this album is not only is it so much better than I thought it ever could be, even though they were finally, Blade's finally back to making like my favorite type of music from him. It's also like so innovative and does so many new things, and they know we've talked about it for a long time at this point, but there's just so much to dig into. I mean, this is an album that is worth, an entire podcast, but I'm really glad that we've given it, a lot of oxygen. I wanted to ask Pat, actually, did you have any, like, overarching final thoughts on it? Because I know that we've all been steamrolling each other here and there in the conversation a little bit. That's cool. Like, I want to pitch it to some of y'all, just if you had any, like, wrap-up thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just lead this off, and then we can throw it to Chris, Ben, and I think Caleb can finish things off. I think, like I said in my review, thank you, Chris, for your kind words, by the way, is that, this is the platonic ideal of a Bladee album. I don't know if it's my favorite. I'm going to need to live with it for a little bit, but I think it has sounds from every Bladee album I've loved previously, but like I said before, just repackages is the wrong word, synthesizes them in a way that's really satisfying. I think there's just great rapping all over all of it, really just appealing production, an incredibly varied emotional palette. I loved listening to it over the past month. I do not see it leaving my car for a very long time. I just see aspects of everything I love about Drain Gang in every corner of it, and it's enriched my life in ways that great music should. And I think that actually I disagree with that it's overwhelming for a new fan. I think that for all the inside jokes and references and fan service, I think there's so much here in terms of hooks and song construction that you can come to this not knowing anything about Drain Gang. And maybe it's weird. It is music for weirdos. There's some fucking weirdos. But I think that as long as you have an open mind to it, and you don't mind that they sound like not conventional hip hop, whatever that is in 2024, I don't think that exists. You should find something here.
Very good point. Yeah. I'll just reiterate again. It took me a while to even fathom this album. Like I was just like 30 songs. Like I'm never gonna be familiar with these songs. I'm never gonna have a connection to them. But immediately, I was like I've always said Glue is his best project because it's the one I started with, the first one that came out, and the one that meant the most to me at the time. It was very formative for me and influenced a lot of what I like now. But this one, like, kind of just inarguably is just the best fucking thing he's ever released. Like, it's just, there's no, like, every song is a banger. Will it stay with me as long as Glue has? Impossible to say until I'm 40 years old. So I guess we'll wait till then, and then I can get back to everybody with an answer on that. But I mean, it's just incredible that he has been so good for so long. And I'm just glad that he made something that I can connect to again in a serious way, rather than just saying, "Oh, that was good. On to the next one." This will definitely stay with me. And yeah, clearly album of the year. Like, I don't know, like, what even else? Do you know what I mean? What even else came out this year? I don't know. Who cares?
Mark.
That would be number 2 for me, though. To be fair, yeah, that would be a clear number 2. There's just nothing else. There's just nothing else like Bladee and like Drain Gang, and like you said, Caleb, like they say they do it the best because they kind of do. They just kind of do, and that's my thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, they just occupy like such a niche spot, in my opinion, and they just like this one was like that niche spot perfected. It was everything, every little bit that made Bladee, every little sort of like just thing that made him like he calls himself a fool and a jester, just these funny little things, but all those real moments, it all just comes together perfect on this thing. And Chris, like you said, seeing that 30 track list after it first dropped was like, I fell out of my seat. It's just one of the most insane feelings I ever felt. Yeah. And then listening to it that first time was just unbelievable. And I really don't see this ever falling out of my rotation. It's hard to say if it'll be Glue or Ice Dancer for me, but like the consistency of all the 30 tracks is just mind-boggling, especially like considering the sort of trajectory that he was going. Not that it was bad, but like I could see myself thinking a 30-track Bladee album in 2024, like 2 years ago, would have been like, it's good, but like, is this the way I want it to be? And like now knowing that this is the direction, it's just crazy that we got this.
I'm so glad. Yeah, I'm so glad he pivoted to this, honestly. Yeah. I'm like, fucking thank Christ, honestly. And he literally would, I think. So
yeah, and let's hope we get a collab album that sounds kind of like this as well, because I think with TLDR they're kind of teasing it. So hopefully good stuff in the in the future as well. But yeah, 5 stars. I mean, album of the year. Don't even know much else to say.
I mean, couldn't have said any better, Ben. I, at this point, will not belabor my talking points about this. I think we've had a wonderful discussion about, this most recent era of Blade and Drain Gang, and, these are just some of my favorite artists I've heard in my lifetime listening to music, and it really is like, the day this drop was like the sunshine, like, parting the clouds. Like, really nothing else mattered in my life for like a full hour and 3 minutes, like, listening to this, and that's some of the highest possible praise I can give. So I didn't know it could still be like this, and somehow maybe just as good, if not better. It really is one of his best projects. I firmly believe that. I don't think it will be my favorite, but who knows? Like Chris said, ask me again in 5 years or something. So on that note, I want to thank you, Chris. Thank you, Ben, for joining us on this long journey
It's been a pleasure.
throughout 2020's Drain Gang. I want to thank all of you for listening. We are back on our bullshit, and whenever you hear this episode, do the old like, comment, subscribe, share, and if anybody wants to discuss things on the podcast, feel free to hit me up. I'm Caleb. That's Patrick. That's Chris. That's Ben. We love Cold Visions. We love Blade and Drain Gang. And if it is the final album, he really didn't end on a loss. So thank you, and thank you all for listening. Our outro music, as always, is Stagnant at Pace by Can-Kick, and our intro music is a Borrowed Time instrumental, Yoon classic. We will see you next time. Peace.
It ain't gonna never stop. 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 It ain't gonna never stop.
Time will tell. Time is yet to be conquered by man. But when the time is right, perhaps the greatest revelation of all time will dawn upon us.